Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Friday night, which means another live lawn care Q&A. My name is Ron Henry, and I'm here to help answer your lawn care questions. If this is the first time you've joined the channel or the live stream, first of all, welcome. The way this works, super simple. On your box, or on your window, you'll see a chat box. On that chat box, you can enter your question, comment, concerns of the day, and I work through them in the order they come in. Sometimes I have the answer, sometimes I do not, but either way, we have a great time talking about lawn care. All right, so let's see what we have in the live stream tonight. We got Dwizzle kicking it off saying code red. See, he's not letting me even get into it, give it an introduction. He's going right to work. Says code red. Woke up to holes in my backyard this morning. Appears grubs and an armadillo are back. I applied Caravan G in the spring as recommended. Should I do another application now for grubs? Well, if you're sure it's grubs, then yeah. I mean, if you want to use Caravan, that's actually not a bad choice because starting in another week or so, doing your first fall fungicide application is a great idea. So, you need to get Zoxystrobin down anyway. So yeah, if you have an active grub problem that you want to throw some insecticide down to get rid of, Dwizzle, Caravan is a good option. Now, as far as for the armadillo, I got nothing for you on that one, unfortunately. Armadillos are pretty nasty too. I saw some, you shared pictures of the damage that they can cause, and it's pretty gnarly, man. So yeah, I'm sorry that you're dealing with that. Caravan for the grubs is a good plan, but for the armadillos, I don't know, traps, pointy stick. I don't know. I don't have anything for you on that one, unfortunately. Appreciate you coming to hang out, man. And again, if there's anyone here that's new, first of all, welcome. Really excited about having new viewers. So if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them in the chat. And again, I do work through them in the order they come in. So if it takes me a while to get to your question, it's not that I'm ignoring you. It's literally because I go through them in the order that they come in. Guys, so it's a great time. Fall is officially here. I think as of yesterday was the first day of fall, right? So which is nice. And the weather out today was actually really nice. I got a mow in right before the live stream It was in the high 70s. It was a really pleasant weather to be out there mowing the lawn. Did a double cut and everything. If you guys follow the YouTube stories, you guys saw that. But yeah, it was a great time, and hopefully this weather cools off a little bit to where we can still get out there and work on the lawn, but not so cool that the lawn goes into dormancy soon, right? We don't want that. We want to enjoy all the hard work we've been putting in over the summer for a little bit longer. All right, next up is Duazoli. He says, okay, I am vacationing on Wednesday, so I guess I'll do another application before I leave. Yeah, that's a plan, man. And again, as far as that goes, again, doing a preventative fungicide in the fall is a good idea. I like to do that to prevent issues with spring dead spot. And again, if you've got an active grub problem, Caravan is a great product to solve both, right? You get your insecticide and your fungicide in a single application. I like it. Next up, we got Jackie Bear in the house. He says, Brother Ron, have an excellent stream, sir. Should be a fun one, man. I got a lot of content from you guys. So it's this show really should be like you guys showing me all your lawn projects, new equipment. I got a mower for sale that I'm gonna tell you guys about. People got new equipment. I mean, it's gonna be a fun one. A lot of top dressing projects, scalping projects, lots of footage to show from that. So definitely stay tuned if you guys want to see what some of the viewers in the lawn care community are doing, some of the cool stuff that they're working on. Definitely stick around for that. We got Alex Lee in the house. He says, happy Friday, everyone. What's going on, Alex? Thanks for coming in to hang out, sir. Appreciate you as always. And now to kick off the show and tell tonight is Mr. Patrick from Texas. He says, new toys, it's getting expensive. Here's the thing, Patrick. It never ends. It really never ends. Now, Patrick did get a new toy. I think I've got a picture of it right here. Now, he got a rotary scissors. It looks like it's connected to like an electric trim or something, but you can see there, guys, he's got some new hardware. And, I'll tell you, I was one of the naysayers. I was one of the people who said, you don't need one of those things. They make a lot of noise. It's kind of pointless. Why? It's like just another piece of equipment you got to take care of and maintain. But I got to tell you, after actually getting one, they are pretty awesome. It's literally like real mowing for edging. So that's the best way I can describe one of the rotary scissors. They're really cool. You gotta let me know how it does for you, Patrick. If you love yours as much as I love mine, it's again, really nice piece of equipment. They're not cheap, but they are very good for the thing they were designed to do. They do better than anything else that I'm aware of. So glad you got one, man. Looks really nice. Definitely keep us posted on how it does. Andrew Phillips is up next. He says, hello, Ron and all. My favorite phrase is thank God it's Friday. Upper 90s for the next 2 days in Texas. Then the lower 80s roll in to kick off fall. Thinking about getting in a mow. You're not going to get any argument from me. I mean, here's the thing. While you mow, like have the live stream on, put some earbuds in or something so you can listen while you mow. And then, that way you're getting your mow done, you're being productive, and you're also helping to support the show, right? There's always that, Andrew. I'm not going to get mad at you for that. Guys, so speaking of fun things this fall, and as far as, just being able to have a cool meet and greet, if you're in the Southeast, you're in Georgia or nearby state, and you don't mind making a small road trip, Real Rollers is hosting the Turf Park Party on October 1st. I want to make sure I give you guys the day right. It's the first Saturday. Yep, October 1st, 2022, from noon to 5. It's going to be a great time. Cornhole. We're going to have mowers out. I'm going to bring the Owlet out, bring out the Greensmaster. There's going to be football, cornhole. There's going to be all kinds of fun stuff. They're going to be grilling. So it's like food. I've heard rumors there's supposed to be a keg as well. So if you guys want to come hang out, meet and greet, it'll be a great time. I will probably be there I will be there, but I'll be there between 2:30ish to 3 or so until the end of the event. I have a black belt pre-test that I have to help proctor that morning, so I can't get out of that. But I will be there in the mid-afternoon, and just hopefully a lot of you guys can make it out, because I'd be really cool to put faces with the names and be able to meet a lot of you guys. So if you can, get out there. There's a link here to RSVP. I think they're trying to do that so they can get a head count as far as how many people are going to show up. So if you want to support Real Rollers, definitely, there you go. Costs nothing. Just to show up and have a great time with everyone. All right, next up is Stan G. He says, hey, Ron. What's going on, Stan? Hopefully you're doing all right, sir. And he says, hey, Ron, have a good evening to you and everyone. I appreciate that, Stan. And then next up is Andrew. So he has a comment here. He says, at Patrick, Texas, what toys? I'll be purchasing a Scarifier and Verticutter for my Owlet very soon as my toys. So you saw Andrew, Patrick in Texas got a pair of rotary scissors, or a set of rotary scissors is probably more correct. And I'm sure he's going to love it. It's a really nice piece of equipment. It's a very niche piece of equipment. But again, for what it's designed to do, there's not much that does a better job than it does at what it's designed to do. So we got Todd Gleaves in the house. He says, yeah, no rotary scissors. And now this is a good question. Todd says, wanting to put down a preventative fungicide, but Headway G is expensive because you also have a larger property from what I understand too. You have a pretty big property that you have to take care of. Is there any reason to choose Headway over doing propiconazole and azoxystrobin separately? No, no reason at all. I mean, really, the thing with granulars, a lot of times what you get with granulars is you get the convenience, right? It's the convenience. So in almost all cases, I'm trying to think of many cases where it wouldn't be, but in almost most cases, in pretty much all, for coverage for dollars spent, you will do better with liquids. But then you have to have a backpack sprayer. You have to know how to use it properly. You have to get the liquids. You have to mix it properly. So there's more involved versus just dumping it in a spreader, setting the calibration, and just walking your property, and then you're done, right? But yeah, if you have a larger properties, there's no reason to not do to do propiconazole and azoxystrobin in a liquid. You might even be able to do them together. The only thing I would say is test it first. I've never actually tested the liquids together. So get a little bit, mix up, do a little jar test to make sure that they blend nicely. And if they do, save yourself some money and just go ahead and go that route. Because again, for a larger property, you will work out better doing the liquids route versus just having multiple bags of Headway G, right? So really, I would say once you get past 21,000 square feet, which is what a bag of Headway G will, I said Caramel a second ago, what a bag of Headway G will cover at the rate that I recommend that you apply it at, then start looking into liquids. That's when liquids will begin to make more sense, because the thing is, like a bag of Headway, I don't know what it is, it's around $100 thereabouts, right? But by the time you get into liquids, you will likely spend, maybe it could be comparable to that, right? Maybe a little bit more. So you want to make sure you have a large enough property that whenever you're mixing this stuff and applying it, that you're actually going to be able to use it up. So if you have like a 4,000 square foot lawn, it makes sense to buy a granular and because from a convenience of storing it and everything else, it's just makes more sense. But once you have a larger property, that's when liquids begin to become more cost effective and just again, make more sense for what you're trying to do. So yeah, man, if you have any other questions, Todd, like once you pick out the products or what you're deciding to go with, if you want to post them in the Academy, happy to look at them. I'll look over the labels with you and everything. We can figure out some tests, and then yeah, by all means, save yourself some cash by going the liquid route. No worries at all there. Todd has a follow-up question. He says, would it be preferable to put down a cellopryn in the fall now, or just wait until April, May to get ahead of grubs and armyworms? The only time I would put down a cellopryn now is if you are dealing with an active insect damage in your lawn. So if you visually are seeing armyworms, or you know that you have grub damage, yeah, then I would apply it. But as far as applying it from a preventative standpoint, really that late March, April time frame is really where you're going to get a lot of value out of it. There's people that apply it a little bit later. Some people wait till June-ish or so to apply it, but doing it now, I would only do that if you have reason to believe or you have actual evidence of insect damage on your property. It's an expensive product, so I don't want you to use it unless you really have to. You know what I mean? So if you got something going on, then yeah, absolutely put it down. But if you don't, then I would say from a preventative standpoint, April timeframe makes more sense in my opinion. So good stuff, man. If you have any other questions, definitely let me know. So guys, we're going to show off some of the lawn, some cool stuff that I've gotten here. So Granger, aka Heartfelt Fashion, sent in a short video showing up the state of his lawn. You can see he just got done mowing. It looks like it was early in the morning, and you can tell how smooth that is, man. Nice pool table smooth. He's got some stripe action going on. Look at that edge work around the beds. Let's pause here for a second, because you really have to appreciate a clean edge. And this man has definitely done a good job with that. Better than I would do. That's the one thing I actually do not like doing is edging. I just like mowing. I like mowing. I don't like trimming shrubs. I don't really like edging. But his is looking good, man. Overall, the color looks great. The edge looks nice and clean. Very, very nice. Where you got to scroll in. You got to show us the color. Yeah, man. I dig it. Nice work, sir. Keep going. Keep going. Whatever you're doing is working. Obviously, it's working. So keep rolling. Keep doing it, man. Looks great. All right, next up, we have Andrew Phillips. He's saying, I had to send my rotary scissors back. That's not good. He said, it only had 2 screws and it wasn't secure enough for my Echo. I think I'll purchase a still to get that attachment. Yeah, so the way that, from what I understand, the still, it's people that have heard mine running the videos. It's much quieter than some of the other, like some of the ones other ones you could buy online. So I'm not sure what Still's doing. Maybe their tolerances are, maybe it's just the way it's built. or the tolerances allow a little more, I would say play, but just a little more area between the blades, so it doesn't make quite as much noise. But it is very quiet for a pair of rotary scissors versus the ones that I have heard on other videos. They sound like a banshee running. It sounds like literally like it's screaming. Like you almost need like double air pro to run those, and not for it to be uncomfortable. So yeah, I'm not sure, Andrew, what happened with that. Sounds like you just got a bad example. They might just take care of it and get you a replacement. But I will tell you, the still does work really nice. I do like the steel or still, or however you're supposed to pronounce it. It does a great job. I really like mine. I do. All right, next up, we have VMH in the house. He's saying, hey, Ron, what's going on? What's going on, VMH? Glad you're here, as well as always, one of the regulars in the live stream. So guys, at the top of the hour, I'm going to show you guys a mower that's up for sale. So Steven Velasquez is a viewer of the live stream, and he has a TrueCut, a TrueCut 20 inch. And he's moved out of state to where, actually I've got his whole correspondence here. He's moved out of state to where he's gonna have a fescue lawn. I mean, nothing wrong with fescue, but I mean, it doesn't really make sense to have a real mower if you're mowing fescue. He moved to Louisville, Kentucky. So let me show you guys what he's working with here as far as what he is making available. If any of you guys are looking for a TrueCut, it's only 15 months old. It's got the grass topper. Let's see what else we got here. It's got it's Ron Henry edition, so I got a golf course lawn sticker on it, and there you go. So you got and it's got an extra roller too. So you got the groove roller, smooth roller, and a again that comes with a catcher, and also the Real Roller's grass topper. So if you're in the market for a 20-inch TrueCut, if you're interested in that, and you're in the Louisville area, I'm not sure if he's willing to ship it or not. But if you're interested in that, if you want, drop me a line, and I will connect you and Steven. I don't think he's asking too much for it. I think he's asking, I don't know, I'll let you guys do with the price, but he says ballpark is around $1,000 thereabouts, I believe is what he's looking for. If you're interested in it, send me an email. I'll give you Steven's details. I don't want to post it in the chat unless, for only people that actually are interested in it. But email me here, ron@golfcourselawn.com, and I'll try and help Steven out. If you're interested in what looks like to me a pretty clean TrueCut, comes with some goodies as well. Get an extra roller with it. Get the grass topper, and it's only 15 months old. So sounds like a pretty good deal to me for what you'd be getting. So next up is the Phantom. He says, Ron, I've been working my butt off at my new job. I'm liking so far, but my angles are killing me. The grass ain't gonna cut itself. That is true, man. That is true. The grass does not mow itself. And even though this time of year is more pleasant for being outside, I'm kind of enjoying it because it's not so hot that the Bermuda is growing so quickly that it's trying to set a record. And it's and the color's still staying nice, but you're still able to get out there and mow, and you're not like sweating, like crazy after like 10 minutes of mowing the lawn. But I hear you, man. You're right. The lawn is not going to mow itself. You're going to have to put that work in if you want the result, man. If you want the lawn to look sweet, you got to do it. You got to do it. On the topic of mowing, we got a picture here from Robert Majoros showing him mowing in style. Check this out. So this man's he's on his triplex. He's got his umbrella out, got his man's best friend is his dog. He didn't give me the dog's name, but they're out there as well. So Pat, he really means that he's not gonna break a sweat. Very, very cool, Robert. Your method of mowing is definitely cooler than mine. Definitely cooler than mine. Appreciate you sending me the pictures, man. And I wanted to show everyone in the live stream because it's actually pretty cool. It's a pretty cool setup. You got your umbrella, and again, you're riding while you real mow, which is even better, right? Even that much better. All right, Todd's up next. He says, so I've got 3 weeks into an auto mower demo, and I'm sold. Gonna pull the trigger on one in the spring, and we'll have the yard trimmed nice and low. No stripes, but pool time with the kiddos wins the day. I hear you, man. Especially with you. You have, I forget how large your property is, but from my understanding, you have a relatively large property. It's much bigger than my lawn. And, having to go out there a couple times a week and mow that, I get it, especially with your, what you do for work. You're going to be away. It takes away from family time. And, what you could do is this. You could have the auto mower mow the majority of the property. And if you just want to cut just the front, just real mow the front lawn, that's going to take you a lot less time. Then that might, that's a good compromise where you can have that stripe action if you want that, while not having to deal with, the time consuming aspect of having to real mow a very, very large lawn. So I get it, man. Definitely send me some pictures. I want to see how the lawn looks after being cut with the auto mower. It sounds like you're doing some testing with it. So if you can, and you're open to it, send us some pictures, and we'll show the crowd kind of results that you're getting out of the robot mower. Because I mean, those things are becoming more and more of a thing. Whenever someone invents one it's got a real mowing cutting head on it, and that can lay stripes, which actually shouldn't be. I wouldn't think that'd be too bad. I mean, GPS is getting pretty precise now, but I mean, you think that they'd be able to do one that can at least, I don't know, maybe it's hard, maybe it's a harder problem than I'm thinking. But a real mowing robot mower would be a pretty cool offering. Even if you don't get stripes out of it, just the lower cut would be very, very cool. But yeah, man, keep us posted on how it does, and I'll be looking forward to that. Okay, so we got some other pictures here. One here from Ryan McFarlane. Now, if you guys remember, Ryan was on the live stream, or he was asking a question on the live stream about doing a scalp on his lawn late in the season. So it was late August. He wanted to get a scalp done, and this is what his lawn looks like just 16 days after getting the scalp, putting the scalp in. So take a look at this. You see, he sent me the picture, the email of it. He called it like fresh carpet. So look how tight that is. That looks good in that picture, but this is even better. That really gives you an idea of how tight that is. Look at that. That's clean, man. And again, that was scalped 16 days ago, and you can see how nicely the Bermuda recovered from it. So very, very nice work, Ryan. Lawn looks awesome, man. You're gonna get to enjoy it for a bit longer here before dormancy sets in. So yeah, to answer the question, can you scalp in late August, early September? Yeah. You can see his lawn did really well, recovered nicely, and it's looking fabulous. Color looks great. All right, next up we have Don't Ask 08. Says, howdy folks, first time here. First of all, welcome Don't Ask 08. Glad to have you here hanging out in the live stream. If you have any questions, definitely drop them in, because as the night progresses, it takes longer and longer to get to them. So if you have a question, get it in now so that you're not waiting too long for me to answer it. All right, next up is Ben Raham. He says, Ron, 3-week update. 4 ounces per 1K of prodiamine overdose. No real issues. Seems okay so far. That's cool. That's good, Ben. I mean, I'm still not representing saying that's a good idea to go that heavy over application rate, but it sounds like you're getting away with it. I mean, so 3 weeks from now into it, we'll see. I mean, I guess just give it more time and see if there's any adverse results. But I think if anything bad were going to happen, you would start seeing signs of it by now, I would think. But yeah. 4 times the recommended rate is not, it actually is more than that, because it's you said 4 ounces, so it's not quite 10 times, 5 times ish the max rate is what you're doing. Wow. So I'm glad that you got through it, man. Todd is saying he says he's demoing the Husqvarna 550 EPOS commercial unit. What, pray tell? It sounds really cool. Husqvarna, the 550. You said the 550 EPOS, huh? Let's see. Can we find a picture of it really quick? See what you're dealing with? Okay, so it looks like a battery powered, looks like all the robot mowers. So it looks like, let's find you guys a good picture of it. Looks like this. Looks like that. Take a look here. That is what he's cutting with. $3,000. It better cut good for that. But yeah, that's cool. I'm sure. What kind of how to cut range do you have on this guy? Todd, you didn't tell us, but let's see. Cutting height 2 inches to 3.5 inches. I don't know, man. 2 inches is kind of tall, but I get it. I mean, for the back lawn area, for the large areas, then it saves a lot of time. So I absolutely get that. I get it. I'm sure it does really well for given what it costs, though. All right, Alec Lee saying, Jackie Bear, hope you're doing well. Cool, very nice. Okay, next up we have a question from Stan about mixing Spectacle Flow and the Flow Zone backpack sprayer. Okay, so this is an interesting question. So he says, Ron, could you give me the correct measurement amount of mixing Spectacle Flow to a 4-gallon backpack sprayer? I've got a Flow Zone Cyclone when applying to a 1,000 square foot area. Okay, so it kind of depends, Stan. It depends. So it depends on whether you have hybrid or common Bermuda. I'm trying to think which rate is higher. I think the rate for the hybrid is higher. Check me on this, but the rate goes up to 10 ounces per acre, which works out to like 0.10 to 0.20. It's between 6 ounces to up to 10, I believe, if we're doing this from memory, which works out to around 0.10 fluid ounces of spectacle, which with a gallon of water over 1,000 square feet, up to 0.2 thereabouts, mixed with a gallon of water over 1,000 square feet. So if you have, I don't think I have one here to show you. I don't think I still have my spectacle measurement. No, I think I put it in the garage. Okay, so if you had one of these guys filled with spectacle, right, and you were going like the heavier rate, then you have your rate would range between 0.10 and 0.20. So this would be your option, this one or this one, and that's going to, again, the 0.20 is going to be the higher rate. There's several different ways of applying spectacle. Like most places around here, they apply it once during the fall at that higher rate, and that's all they do. But there's a couple of strategies. You can take like that max rate and divide it in 3 applications if you want. But literally every time I've ever done spectacle on my lawn, it's been a single app, and it's done a great job with keeping POA away. But again, for Bermuda, check the label, because I'm trying to think whether or not it's 0.20 for hybrid, which I think the high rate is for hybrid. And then it's between 6 ounces per acre or 10 ounces per acre. And check the label, because it does specify a different rate between common Bermuda and hybrid Bermuda. The difference between that is going to be the difference between the 0.1 and 0.2 if you have it poured into one of these bottles. This is like a nice convenient measuring container for that. So hope that helps. So if you had, let's say you were going to go at the lower rate, right? And you had a 4-gallon backpack sprayer, they're going to cover 4,000 square feet. You would then take 0.4, so 4 times 0.10. So you would get up here. So you'd use 0.4 ounces of that. So it doesn't take very much. You'd mix that with 4 gallons of water, and you'd apply that over 4,000 square feet. So hope that helps. Again, check the label, because I'm drawing a blank of which one is for hybrid and which one is for common, but there are 2 different rates that are recommended for that. But yeah, that puts you in the ballpark, 0.10 or up to 0.20 with a gallon of water over 1,000 square feet. And that will get you good to go. And the only other thing, you didn't ask about that, but also make sure you're using this proper spray tip. I would recommend using a flood jet tip, something like this, get you that larger droplet size. You're going to get a better result as far as it getting past the canopy, getting down in the soil. And let me think of what else I can tell you. Outside of that, just water it in after application, or just, time it to when you have some rain in the forecast, and let Mother Nature water it in. And then from there, you're good to go. That's all I got for you on spectacle. All right, next up is Alex Lee. Says, kindly tap that like button. I really would appreciate that, guys. We've got 78 people in the live stream so far and only 35 likes. What is that about? We can do better than that. We can certainly do better than that. If you guys wouldn't mind hitting that like button ever so gently, I would really, really appreciate it. Doesn't cost anything at all. It's a great way to support the channel. All right, next up is Jackie Bear saying all is well. And then Wesley's Low says Tahoma 31. I'm not sure what kind of grass Ryan has. Ryan might be Ryan might be the Tahoma 31. If you want to see it again, it looks clean, man. It's a good, look at that. Look at that grass. That looks clean, man. Gorgeous grass. I'm not sure what that is. I'm not sure what kind of grass he has on Wesley Low, but it looks really, really, really nice. Very nicely done. Seeing what else we got here, guys. So another submission from a viewer is around top dressing. So we got one here from Mike Harvey. So he's showing what the lawn looked like. I think it was 4 weeks after top dressing it here. Let me make sure I'm telling you right. Yeah, I believe it's 4 weeks. So he did, the lawn started out like this. And again, it doesn't look bad. I don't think it looks bad, right? It's not terrible. And then next, it progressed to this. We've all been there. Gives me nightmares. Probably gives Alex nightmares. It looks like he's got his like an Earthway, or one of those spreaders, those drop spreaders that I use as well whenever I'm top dressing my lawn. And then you can see this is what it looks like after he's worked all that sand in. So it looks like it's settling in nicely, progressing nicely. And then this is the piece de resistance. This is the result. Look at that color, man. It's popping nicely. The stripe action's on point. Very, very, very nice work, Mike. Love it. That's one thing with top dressing. It's not a ton of fun when you first get into it, but the results are hard to argue with. As far as what he did, he said he used a 1608 all season. He used the carbon kit, the Golf Course Lawn carbon kit. And then right before top dressing, he used a Lesco 30010. So give it a little bit of a nitrogen kick, but pretty much he fed the lawn with 1608 and the carbon kit. And again, it's hard to argue with that color. It's popping really nice. Very nice work, Mike. Keep it up. Love it. Love how the lawn's looking. Great stuff. All right, next up is Liz Lou. She says, hello, Ron. I just got my soil test kit today. Hopefully I will get results next week for the live stream. Yeah, hey, absolutely. So you guys, if you remember Liz, I think, Liz, where were you? Were you in Vegas? I forget where in the country you were, but she was the one that had the problem lawn. She sent me some pictures of it. It's got some challenges. We'll just say that. It's got some challenges. But once you get your cores pulled, sent out, and ideally, if you're able to get them out tomorrow, you should get, I mean, hopefully, fingers crossed, maybe by Friday of next week, you should get an email with your soil test results, right? That would be nice to be able to see what's going on with your lawn, so we can work out a plan of action on how to improve what you're dealing with. So yeah, it would be really interesting to see what your soil test results come back with. Really interesting to see that. But good stuff, Liz. You're on your way. I mean, there's nothing wrong. I mean, here's the big thing with soil testing, and why I'm such a huge fan of it, is especially when you have a lawn that just they say that a person says they're doing everything right. They say, I get emails all the time when people say, hey, I'm mowing properly. I've got lots of, I'm putting down fertilizer and I'm watering, and the lawn just doesn't look good. And, that's when a soil test really makes a difference, because you'll see, your pH is way, way low. We got to get a line application to start bringing that up, or there's something else going on. And it just allows you to go forward with the correct data to make an informed decision. So yeah, great stuff. And I'll look out for it. Liz, you got my email address. It's right here, ron@golfcourselawn.com. So send me an email with a picture or a screenshot of the soil test results once you get them. Sometimes people send me like their login to the MySoil portal, and I don't have access to that. So make sure, pull it up on your computer, take a nice picture of it, or screenshot it and email that to me, and I'll be able to get you some guidance based on that. So good stuff. All right, next up is Ogsan. Ogsan1, he says, 2023 brings new Ironite Bermuda sod. Ironite Bermuda sod. Is that really a type of Bermuda? Ironite? I have to look it up. You're getting an outlet and an earth and turf top spreader. Trying to get my common Bermuda gone. Focus on the soil this year to level up. Wish me luck. Thanks, Ron, for all you do. Sounds like you got a plan, man. I like it. So going into next year, it sounds like the first part of the season, we're just going to call that pain and sacrifice. And then the second part of the season is going to be domination. That's what I'm reading in that. It sounds like a lot of work, but the lawn's going to look really nice, I'm sure, once you are done. You're doing it right, man. I'll tell you. Top dressing manually, like every time I do the front lawn, the front lawn's been top dressed manually more often than using a machine, because even when I use that earth and turf, that top dressing machine, you can't fill it all the way up, and you really have to have someone else. Like Alex will be I'll be either driving it and Alex is pushing on it to kind of make sure that there's enough weight to doesn't try and lean over, or vice versa. So, but if you have a larger property, or just you want to get more even application, it's really hard to beat that machine. So it's worth renting one for sure. If you got a big enough property where you got a place to store it, where you want to actually buy one, even better. But it's definitely the way to top dress a lawn, in my opinion. Definitely the way to go. All right, next up is Steven Velasquez. So Steven says, what's up, Ron? So Steven was the guy I was just telling you guys about, as far as that's making the True Cut available up for sale. So if you guys want to ping him, if he's in the chat now, so he might give you his email address directly. I don't want to give that out here on the live stream. But if you guys are interested in a clean looking True Cut, comes with the grass topper, an extra roller, and a Ron Henry sticker already applied for whatever that's worth. It adds at least 20 horsepower. Takes that little 5 horsepower Honda engine, and it's like a bolt-on nitrous all the time. Not really, but kind of looks cool anyway, right? Reach out to Steven, because he's selling his, because he's moved to Kentucky, where he's going to be mowing, I believe, fescue is what he told me. So he doesn't really need that anymore. And guys, here's the thing. We are now at the time of year, and if you've been waiting to get your pre-emergent in, yesterday, fall officially started. And you really want to get your pre-emergent down. So whether you decide you're going to go with Spectacle, or, Pennant Magnum, or Prodiamine, or Dithiopyr, whatever you decide you want to use, get some pre-emergent applied. You will thank me and will not be hating springtime if you do that. Like, if you want to get some, we have plenty of options at the Golf Course Lawn Store. We've got Prodiamine, Dithiopyr, in granular form here at the Golf Course Lawn Store. By all means, pick that up. If you don't want to get it from me, that's fine too. But I just implore you to please put some pre-emergent down on your lawn, because it's going to do a lot for keeping weeds out of it, and it's going to have you have a lot less of a mess to have to deal with when springtime rolls around. So just something to keep in mind. short PSA, short public service announcement. So try to avoid like how much questions I'm going to get in January, February timeframe when people are like, oh, my lawns all got POA all through it. And now we're going to have to go buy, Certainty or Negate or something else to try and clean it up. So avoid a lot of that by getting your pre-emergent down. But you definitely, guys, if you're interested in a true cut, reach out to Steven because it comes with a lot of good stuff. And I think the price he's asking is pretty reasonable for a mower that's only 15 months old. All right, next up is Don't Ask 08. He says, Ron, do you water at all when the grass is dormant, or do you turn off irrigation until the grass begins greening up in the spring? Yeah, I really run irrigation. I'm trying to think. I don't run irrigation during when the lawn is dormant unless I'm doing like a lime application. If I put lime down, I may run irrigation to water it in, but there's really just no reason to water the lawn when it's dormant. Especially in my area, because we don't get super cold winters, but we get like wet, rainy winters. So we get enough rain to where the lawn doesn't dry out too much. There's not really a need to constantly run irrigation. I'll put it to you this way: only in this last week have I turned irrigation on. Like the entire month of August, I maybe ran irrigation, man, less than a handful of times, less than 5 times the entire month of August, because we were getting rain like literally every other day. Like at least there's never a period more than like 3 or 4 days went by where we didn't get some kind of rainfall. But here now, if you look at the forecast, there's like zero chance of rain in the forecast for it hasn't rained in probably 2 weeks now, coming up on 2 weeks. So I've now turned the irrigation back on. I've been running it a couple times a week, but I say all that to say is that I don't even want to run irrigation a ton whenever the grass is growing, much less when it's not growing. So no, I don't run it in the when it's dormant. Only reason would really be, again, if I'm applying like lime and I want to water that in, then that's when I might do it. But for the most part, no real need. All right, this is a great question here from Sunny Bermuda. He says, how's the big battery-powered outlet running? It's running great, man. So the reel is actually off being sharpened. I found a guy locally that he sharpens reels for a local golf course and decided he wanted to take it on. So see what he comes back with. So the reel is being sharpened. I've been using it here to turf rake. So if you guys have been following the YouTube stories, you guys know that I turf raked the lawn in 2 directions. I turf raked it lengthwise and then turf raked it in the direction that I want the stripes to really look nice in, the double wides. And then it's been double cut. To this afternoon, after I got off work, I double cut it. I made a lengthwise pass and then a pass, away from the house. So yeah, so the outlet right now is just on cultivation duty. It's not actually doing any mowing because the reel's not getting sharpened, but it's still super awesome for, again, getting that turf raking in and that kind of thing. I'm not going to be verticutting anymore this year. No reason to, but the turf raking does a really good job. One, of really making the stripes nice and pronounced, and just cleaning up any debris, like if any mulch gets into the lawn, it's good for getting that out. I'm trying to find a video here if I got one really quick. I think I shot a quick video this afternoon. I did. I can show you guys that if you guys are interested. I'll work on getting that up here while I look for the next question. But yeah, short video. The only negative about turf raking at this time of year is I lost a little bit of color because I did also double cut it, so quite a bit of material came out. But overall, I'm still very happy with where the lawn is. Very, very happy with where it is. Since you asked, Sunny, here is what it looked like. Some video of it here. This is what it looked like here right after being mowed. So you can see color's not super awesome, but the stripe action is on point. That, I'll tell you, the best stripes are right after turf raking the lawn, because literally you turf rake it and all the grass is like pretty much combed in the direction I want the stripes to lay in, and then I mow it and it just looks gorgeous. The stripes really, really pop. So yeah, good stuff. Next up is Jay Brooks. It says, good afternoon, Ron. Good afternoon, Jay Brooks. Thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream. I appreciate you as always. And then Liz is here. She says, should I reseed with Bermuda grass since I'm in Las Vegas? When is the best time to reseed Bermuda grass, and which where seed should I get? Okay, so before we get into seeding, let's figure out what's going on with the lawn. Looking at your lawn, Liz, the lawn didn't look too large to me, at least the areas that you showed me. So in my opinion, if you decide, because I am with you that there's so much going on there that either seeding or sodding is, I mean, your lawn is definitely a candidate for that if you decide to go that route. But sod, I'll tell you, it's way easier as far as getting the lawn established to just use sod. It takes less water to get it established, and it's faster. So if I had to recommend anything to you, once we look at your soil test and we start doing any amendments that your soil may need, is to consider sod more so over seed. Most people don't realize that seed just takes a lot more water to get the lawn really established than most people think. In Las Vegas, even being in Vegas, I would still say that for seed, you want to wait till next year, till the springtime to do that. So really the May, June timeframe is around the ideal time. Really the most correct answer is whenever soil temps are crossing 65 degrees and getting warmer, that's when a lot of them, if you look at the labels for most Bermuda grass seed, that's what they will say. 65 degrees trending up is when you'd want to take on a seeding project. That said, I still am a much bigger fan of just doing sod, especially if you don't have irrigation. Sod is going to, again, it's going to be much easier to get established. You're not going to have to water it nearly as much as you are seed. And literally you go from one day of having no lawn, and then the next day after they're done installing it, you've got a lawn, and then you just have to put water on it to get it established, but it's not nearly as demanding as seed is. So something to keep in mind. And we'll cross that bridge once we get your soil test results, and we can correspond in an email if you want to figure out what the best plan is. But you're really going to be waiting until next year if you decide to do seed. And I'm trying to think. I'm not sure how cold it gets in Vegas in the wintertime, but even for sod, if you're good with waiting until next spring, that would be ideal too. Sod, you have a lot more leeway on, but seed, you definitely want to wait until that Mayish time from when soil temps are starting to trend up. So hope that helps. Looking forward to working with you on this project. Should be cool. Should be cool to see how it works out. Kind of interesting to seeing what kind of soil your soil test samples come back with. Todd says, what kind of Bermuda do you have, Liz? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I mean, and looking at the pictures, Todd, it's I'll get your permission, Liz, if you I didn't get your permission before the live stream to show them, but I mean the lawn has a lot of challenges. It's a bit patchy. So I'm not really sure what kind of Bermuda it is, because there's a lot of there's like bare spot issues. There's quite a bit going on there. And we need to solve all that before really, before going out and planning to spend a bunch of money on sod and or seed in the lawn. All right, we got our first super chat of the evening. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Mr. LG, kicking it off. Super chat received. He says, "Hey Ron, greetings from 35,000 feet. Got that Tango back yet? You know what? The Tango Bolero. Do I have it? Let me see if I can find it. Do I have it? Nope. You know what? I haven't. I have not copied it back over to this computer as yet, LG. So I owe you that. Next week, I will make a point to get that done. As a matter of fact, so I don't forget, I'm going to screenshot this so I have it. I don't have it as yet. I'm sorry. My apologies. Don't hate me. But you know what? Great and awesome dedication for getting on the live stream while you're flying at 35,000 feet. Appreciate that. That's a first. I think that's a first for sure. And because you are the first, you have the privilege, honor, whatever it means to you, of being the show sponsor. So thanks so much for that, sir. I will work on getting Tango Bolero back up for you, because I know how much you like that. But for what it's worth to you, there you go. Your name in lights for all to see. Travel safe, sir. Hopefully you're going somewhere fun, wherever you're flying to. And again, I will work on getting Tango Bolero back. I just haven't moved all the sound files over from the old machine to this one, unfortunately. All right. Let's see here. We've got Zave in the house, Moro in the house. He says, "Hey Ron, for some of us who can't make the Real Rollers event next week, would you be doing any video on it?" Yeah, that's the plan. I would like to video some of it. Some of you guys have asked for a live stream, but the problem with that is, one, I got to bring a bunch of equipment to do that. I have to bring a bunch of equipment to do it, and then I'll be pinned to the stream in many ways, right? So people that are actually there, I'll be sitting there in front of a laptop the entire time, which may not be as cool. I'll see. If I do set up a live stream there, it will be just so you guys can see what's going on. I mean, I may pop in now and then, but it won't be anything like this. You know what I mean? But at a minimum, here's what I can guarantee. At a minimum, what I will be doing is a lot of the YouTube stories. So if you're subscribed to me, you'll be able to just see those. I'll just keep feeding those and show you guys some of the cool antics, everything going on, so you can kind of experience it even though you're not here present. So Live stream might be a bit difficult, but actually, showing you, taking pictures of it and definitely showing you little snippets of what's going on, that I can do. Definitely can plan to do that. And again, guys, I encourage you guys to come out. It's a fun event. Again, Real Rollers is really working on getting the turf park looking its absolute finest. It's going to be free food. Football is going to be on a bunch of different TVs. There's going to be cornhole. You get to see 3 different types of grass. So if you are thinking, do I want, say you're going to be doing a renovation, you're thinking, do I want to do Bermuda, or do I want to do Xeon Zoysia, or do I want to do El Toro Zoysia? They got all of them right there. They've got 3 different plots, 3 different types of grass. And it's pretty cool, right? So it's another reason if you just want to go check out, different grass types. You want to play with mowers. She's gonna have a bunch of mowers there. My plan is to bring the Allet out as well, and the True Cut. Oh, sorry, not the True Cut. The Allet and the Greensmaster. So you guys will be able to see that if you're interested as well. So yeah, it'll be a fun time. It will be a fun time. All right, Liz says, I don't know, but someone said sod it. Someone said sod it for me this May, but it's all dead. The previous owner, but put buffalo grass, I think. Huh. Okay. Yeah, because it's. I mean, it doesn't look. If they did sod this past May, what I saw based on the pictures, Liz, it doesn't look like it rooted in. It doesn't look like it really took from what I saw, because it looks really splotchy. So it might be that they didn't. That maybe the prep wasn't good, or they didn't. Whoever the previous owner was, they didn't water it to where it was able to get established. Because again, it gets really hot in Vegas. But we'll get to the bottom of it. We'll come up with a plan and get you all squared away. All right, next up is Nate Bailey. He says, that's cool, brother. Thank you so much, Nate. I appreciate it. I'm trying to think of which one what you're referring to, but yeah. And again, next up we have Todd saying, Liz, I'll let Ron chime in, but could it be just dormant? I don't think so, Todd. Like I don't have the pictures here handy, but it doesn't look like dormancy to me. It looks like there's more than just dormancy going on here. You know what? Actually, I think I can show the pictures. Let me do that. I can pull these up here really quick so you guys can see for yourself what she is working with. Yeah, there is something going on that's not that great. So let's see. I will show you the first one there. So you can see that's the lawn, and it's like some of it's growing in, some of it's like dying or dead. There's something going on with that. And then here are a couple other pictures. So this is another angle. You can see it looks like there's some bare areas, and just it looks dead. It looks like it's really dry. But given that this was taken, I believe you told me, Liz, in the summertime, it really shouldn't be dormant. I mean, you're assuming you're putting water on it. And then the last picture is this guy here. So like a wide shot. So this is what I was saying. Based on what I'm seeing, the lawn isn't huge, and with maybe a light grade in this. And once we figure out what's going on, I mean, assuming we can't get the existing grass to bounce back, it really wouldn't take that much to sod that and then have something that looks really nice without a ton of work. So just something to keep in mind. You guys saw it. Feel free to weigh in. What do you guys think is going on with it? Again, we haven't gotten soil test results as yet, but as you can tell, the lawn's definitely got some challenges there. Definitely got some challenges. All right, let's see. Liz says, Todd took some pictures to Ron last week. I'm not sure what dormant looks like, but it's still my first time with the lawn, so I'm a newbie to this. It again, to me, it looks really very dry. Like it's like either dead or, I mean, you're right. I mean, dormancy could be a thing, but it just looks like it's the bare spots are the thing that's really got me wondering what's going on, Liz. You know what I mean? It's almost like I'm not sure if you have dogs or there's something that's gotten into the lawn or something, but the bare spots looks almost like animal damage or something, or just where the grass never grew in. So just if you can, send me an email with some additional details, but I'll really be waiting for the soil test results to be able to say, hey, let's consider doing this, and this, and then go from there. Because the lawn, like I said, as you guys can see, it has some challenges. All right, next up is Robert Majoros. He says, hey, Ron, I should have waited a day to mow instead of doing it in the rain. Wish I could have been there with you all at Real Rollers to get together. I know you all will have a blast. Yeah, it should be a fun time, Robert. Oh, so this picture. So guys, what's what Robert's talking about? So this is him. I said mowing in style, but this is Robert out there on his Triple X mowing. I thought you had the umbrella because you're trying to keep the shade, like the sun, off of you, but it's because of rain. I see. Okay, I got you now. Now I misunderstand better. I got it. I see. Cool. Very, very cool picture, sir. And yeah, waiting till it, the rain stopped probably would have been easier, if for anything, the cleanup, right? Because I can't imagine what kind of a mess it made on the mower, mowing it when it was super wet outside like that. So at any rate, at least you know, right? For next time, for next time. And I believe that Real Rollers, they do these events once a year. So I don't know when the next one's going to be, but if I can find out ahead of time, I will start letting you guys know as soon as possible. So if you want to plan to make a trip, you can. Again, it should be a great time, and it'd be cool to meet a lot of you guys if you're nearby, if you're not too far away. All right, next up is Heartfelt Fashion. He says, "Hello, Ron." He says, "Will there be a live feed next week? Are your guys temps in the 50s at night? Will there be a live stream next week?" Yes, on Friday night there'll be a live stream. Yeah, there'll definitely be a live stream next Friday. But as far as when I'm actually at Real Rollers, I'm trying to pull away from doing that because it's a lot of work, it's a lot of equipment, and it's frankly going to take time away from the people that are also there. If I do set up a live stream, it literally would be it just streaming, and again, I might come by once or twice, but it's not going to be like an interactive session like how this is. So that's that would be the thing. As far as temps, no, we are getting into the 50s, so mid 50s at night. So yeah, so right now it's 70 degrees. The high today was 79. And then it's getting into the 50s, like 54 degrees in the evening. So it is cooling off. It was actually quite pleasant to be out there mowing today. But yeah, get your pre-emergent down, guys, because POA is not too far away if you do not. All right, Todd Gleave says, "At Ron, thanks. I'm planning on doing liquids for the property for the most part." Nice. Yeah. The thing with liquids, man, is if you are able to, if you have a large enough property to where it makes financial sense to buy that stuff, and you have a way to apply it, then yeah, because you'll be able to save money. That's thing one, but also you're able to stack, multiple products and get them down at the same time. So say you have like a liquid fertilizer that you want to apply. There's no reason why you could put that in the tank. You can mix a lot of different products together, assuming they all play nicely, and just save yourself a lot of time versus having to do. Let's say you were doing this within a granular approach, right? You would have to do say something like Headway, or you have to do something like Headway in a granular, apply that, and then if you're going to fertilize, you have to go and load up the spreader again and walk the entire property again to apply your granular. Whereas if you're doing the liquid route, you're able to combine a lot of that stuff and just save yourself time. So I get it, Todd. I get it. Yeah, just do some testing. Again, mix up a small amount first to make sure there's no weird interactions, because the last thing you want is 4 gallons of a bunch of stuff that you can't use. But outside of that, absolutely should be good to go. I'm all for it. Okay, Ogsan is up next. He says the rotary scissors work well with the ego attachment. Works well with the ego attachment. Okay. I will take, I guess, for anyone that's looking to get a rotary scissors attachment and that doesn't have the still, because I believe the one that Patrick showed us, if you guys want to see what Patrick got here, this is one of those universal ones where I think you get the head and then you have to go buy the extension that it bolts to. So what Ogsan is saying that the ego attachment seems to work okay. All right, good to know. Good to know. Thanks for letting us know that, Ogsan. Mr. Mike Harvey's in the house saying, "Hey Ron, happy Friday. What's going on, Mike? I showed everyone your lawn, your pictures. I think I did already, didn't I? I think I showed everyone all the awesome work you did with your top dressing, where you started, and then all the pain, and then the progression, and then the awesomeness. So everyone got to see all the fruits of all your hard work, sir. Very, very great stuff. Thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream." And then next, we got G Free in the house saying, "Hey Ron, hashtag Stripe Action Gang. Good Friday. Hit it." That's right. Hit that like button, guys. If you guys don't mind, it doesn't cost you guys anything, and it's a free way to support the channel. I really would appreciate it. All right, so we have a picture here, guys. If you guys want to see zoysia, so here's the thing. I get a lot of pictures from people with Bermuda lawns, but some of you guys, even with the zoysia contingent, that want to say, "Hey, zoysia can look pretty awesome too." I got a picture here from Chris Burkett where he shows a picture of zoysia mowed at 3/4 of an inch. So this is zoysia at 0.75. And you got to admit, man, that stripe action is looking clean. I'm not sure if he told me what kind of zoysia it was. Chris may have told me. I don't have to look at his email to see, but it looks good, man. The stripes look very pronounced. Color looks great. Great work. So that's zoysia at 3/4 of an inch. All your hard work this season is definitely paying off. So keep going. You're gonna be able to mow for quite a bit longer, keep the lawn looking nice, a lot longer than us, or a bit longer than us Bermuda folk are gonna be able to. So enjoy that. Next up is Dwayne's World. He says, "Hey Ron, happy Friday. Gotta tell you, I wish I lived in your part of the country so I could attend the Real Roller event coming up. Looks like a lot of fun. It will be. I gotta tell you, like Lee, Andrew, and Eric are a great set of guys. They love to have fun. They love real mowing, and it's going to be a fun event. They are putting a lot of work into trying to make it as nice and as fun as possible for you guys. So you want to go out and support them. It would be a great thing to do because they're doing it just purely for the community. It'd be a great meet and greet, put names with faces, learn a little bit of stuff, and just have fun. And it should be a fun time. If you guys are going, they have a link here for you to RSVP so they can get a good idea as far as head count to make sure they have enough food and drinks and everything else so they don't run out. So if you guys don't mind, throw your details in there, let them know you're coming, and that way they can make sure the head count is accurate and good to go. All right, Isaac Mumperhouse, yes, says, "Happy Friday. I took a 2-week business trip, came home and scout my Bermuda, so you're saying Bermuda, and scout my KBG, perennial ryegrass, to almost the dirt last week. Wow, man, savage. Got a good rain and did the first cut today. Going to try and maintain at 1.5 inches. Okay. Sounds good, Isaac. I mean, this time of year is, you guys are entering your fun time for the cool season, folk. It'd be interesting. I don't hear too often about ryegrass and KBG people that have that for their grass type in their lawns, scalping it down to the dirt. I know that some people will do like a high to cut reset, but as far as going down to the dirt, that's not something I hear very often. So it'll be interesting to see how your lawn recovers from it. I guess that you went down really low because you're just trying to clean it out, maybe get rid of some thatch and just give the lawn a reset. Because I wouldn't have thought you'd have to go down to the dirt if you were planning on mowing at 1.5 inches. But again, maybe you had other reasons why you wanted to go that low. So send pictures, man. Let us see how it recovers and how it's doing. Next up is Mr. Luis Ramirez. He says, "Do you recommend overseeding perennial ryegrass for the winter season over Bermuda?" It depends. I do not. I have not, and I do not. Mainly for a couple of reasons. I've said this I sound like a broken record on the live stream, but I'll say it again. I do not like cold weather. I don't like being outside when it's cold. I'm from the Caribbean, so anything literally colder than 65 degrees, in my opinion, is officially cold. So I don't want to have to get out there and mow. Like this time of year wouldn't be bad, but when you get to like November, December, and we have those periods of time when we dips into the 30s, I don't want to have to fire up my mower and to go be out there doing that. So that's thing one for me. I don't want to have to get out there and mow when it's cold out. And then another thing with ryegrass is that if you are trying, it looks awesome as far as like your lawn's green during the winter, and your entire when everyone in your neighborhood's grass is dormant, your lawn grass is green, so it looks really cool. But from a standpoint of springtime, you really need to spray it out to get rid of it so that the Bermuda can come out of dormancy without having to compete with the ryegrass. If you don't do that, what you're going to find is May, June timeframe will roll around, and when the heat gets here, the rye is going to look really sickly and just not that great. And the Bermuda is also going to look a bit thin because it's got this other grass that it's competing with. So as long as you are willing to, bite the bullet and realize that you're going to slow down your Bermuda green up by maybe a week or two, and spray out the ryegrass, then by all means. So if you don't mind, so here's the litmus test. Here's the list you got to check off. If you don't mind mowing when it's cold, then good to go. And you don't mind spraying, having to get rid of it when whenever like a April timeframe rolls around, then by all means, then it's a great way to keep your lawn green all year. It's just not for me. Plus, also from a standpoint, you have to think about it. When I mow my lawn, literally throughout the season, I am mowing my lawn every other day for the most part. I mean, now it's slowing down a little bit, but really, if I overseeded my lawn, now I would have to mow. I would be mowing all the time. Like I would never get any a break. In addition to having to get out there and mow when it's cold. So there is that too, right? So it's more wear and tear on the equipment. I'd have to probably do another sharpen to make sure that all the equipment is sharp to mow throughout the winter. So I'd be literally mowing for the most part year round, which doesn't sound like fun in cold weather. But yeah, Luis, there's people that do it. There are sports fields around here that overseed the Bermuda to keep it looking really nice during the winter months. So you can absolutely do that. It's a strategy. Just know what you're getting into. Know that you're going to have to, you're going to have to get rid of it once springtime rolls around, if you want the Bermuda to come out of dormancy nicely and look nice when summer arrives. That's the only consideration I would really have. But outside of that, yeah, there's nothing wrong with doing that. There's people that do it all the time, literally every year. I'm sure there's gonna be some people in the neighborhood that are gonna do it. All right, next up is Liz Lou. She's back. She says, I am planning to reseed my lawn. The previous owner planted Bermuda and buffalo grass together. I have resodded it with Bermuda this May, but it's all dead off. It all died off, and I'm planning when is the best time. Okay, so if you are committed to the seeding route, then not now, next year. Really, April. You're in Vegas, it gets pretty hot there. So late April, May timeframe is going to be the time where you're going to want to consider seeding the lawn. Now, I don't know if in the comments you've already mentioned, Liz, but having irrigation or having some way to water the lawn is going to be important. I know in your email you said you water it 3 times. You're able to water it 3 times a week, but you, like literally when are seeding the lawn, you're going to run irrigation really twice a day, every day for at least the first 2 weeks, maybe up to 3 weeks. So it's going to be a hefty watering bill. And you really want to have irrigation to do that, because having to drag hoses around is not fun every day, twice a day for 3 weeks. You know what I mean? So if you're going to go the seeding route, if you're already committed to doing that, then wait till next year. That would be my advice to ensure that you give yourself the biggest chance for success. If you do it now, you may get some germination, but you don't want to, start trying to establish a new Bermuda lawn and then have a bunch of cold weather come, potentially stress it and kill it. So given what it's going to cost you in seed and what it's going to cost you in water, I would wait until the spring. As far as which seed to choose, there's many different options. There's Yukon, there's I think Monaco is a seed that a lot of people like, but Yukon is one that I've been hearing people go with quite a bit since Arden 15 is no longer available. From what I understand, Pennington is supposed to be working on a replacement for Arden 15. I have not heard what that's going to be as yet. So by the time you get ready to go next year, it might be available. Might be ready by then, but I don't know what that's going to be. But if you're going to go the seed route, wait till next year. That would be my advice. Mike Harvey's up next. He says, I put down liquid prodiamine combo last weekend. First time using liquid. Fingers crossed I didn't mess up. Was a bit more work than granular, but I got to use a cocktail instead of a single product. Yeah, well, I mean, it should be fine, Mike, because if you know how much you put in your sprayer and you know how much coverage you're supposed to get, if you got to the end of the lawn and you got to the end of the liquid, then you're probably okay. You're probably good to go. You know what I mean? So as long as you didn't mix up like enough for 4,000 square feet and spray that over 2,000 square feet, then you should be fine. Should be all right. Just make sure you water it in, which I'm sure you already did. But yeah, man, liquids from the standpoint of being able to jockey rates and do things like what you're doing as far as adding, like mixing multiple pre-emergents, adding some post-emergent in there. Liquids allow you to do that much easier than granulars do. But what you get with that flexibility, what you give up with that flexibility, is the convenience of simply, again, getting a bag of prodiamine or dithiopyr, setting your spreader, and just away you go. It's really easy. You know what I mean? If you're really trying to be precise, which is a good idea, and good to do anyway, is you would weigh out how much of the granular product that you need based on how big your lawn is. But outside of that, that's about it. There's not a whole lot to doing it. Set the spreader, apply it, and away you go. All right, Dwayne's World is up next. He's back. He says, Ron, for the majority of the year, I've been mowing at 5/8 and was using plant growth regulator. I like it. Although it looks great, I have stopped the PGR for the year and did a high to cut reset. I am at 3/4 of an inch and loving the color at 3/4 of an inch. 3/4 of an inch is a sweet spot, and I'm happy with the result. It's funny, dude. I know, you say that 3/4 of an inch is the sweet spot and the grass is happy with it. I know this guy. He's kind of annoying. He's on YouTube all the time. He hosts a live stream now and then. And in his opinion, in his testing, he said the same thing. He said that 3/4 of an inch, he said you can go taller, he said you can go lower, but you're really getting a lot more work for not much more benefit. But he also said that 3/4 of an inch is the sweet spot where you get the nice color, great stripes, and it doesn't ruin your life, but I gotta look up that guy. But yeah, I'm glad that 3/4 of an inch is working out for you, sir. I'm just messing with you, right, Dwayne? But yeah, I completely agree. 3/4 of an inch is, in my opinion, the best height for someone that wants an amazing looking lawn, great color, great stripes, but then also not not to have mowing become like a job like it does as you start going lower. So good stuff, man. I'm glad that you are enjoying the results at 3/4 of an inch. Now, is your plan to maintain it at 3/4 of an inch high to cut into dormancy and into next spring, or are you going to raise it up? Which way are you going to go? I'm going to be at 3/4 of an inch throughout the rest of the year and into next year, mainly because I'm trying to not have a huge problem on my hands when I have to scalp next year, and because the previous season I tested it at 1/2 an inch and the lawn tolerated that just fine. So 3/4 of an inch is easy mode, right? All right, next up is Moro. He's back. He says, Ron, when applying certainty for sedges, how long after application can we mow? Or can we mow then apply? Okay, so after applying, I would give it a couple of days, Moro. And can you apply it after mowing? Technically, yes. But here's the thing. You really want there to be some leaf. Like the more leaf there is, you're really doing more to maximize uptake of the herbicide. So ideally, if you can not mow, if you can give it 2 days prior to applying it, so 2 days. So say you mow today. Let's say today is Friday. So if you mow today and you applied certainty on Sunday, and then you could wait until Wednesday to mow, or at least mow the areas that you apply the herbicide, that's going to give you a really good result. Because the weeds, whenever you spray them, you're going to have more leaf to be able to take up the herbicide, the sedges, and by not cutting it off right away, you're just allowing more uptake. You're going to get a better result by doing that. Now, having said that, I have sprayed certainty on sedges that has been freshly mowed, and it does work well, but it works better when there's more leaf. You know what I mean? You get a better result if you're able to apply it and then leave it alone for a couple of days before you mow it. That is what I'd recommend. All right, next up is Mike Harvey. He says, if I had spurge in the yard, would I see it dying after spraying prodiamine, Princep, and Image combo? I don't know. The thing out of that combination, the thing that could potentially damage the spurge is the Image, and I don't know. It's a good question. I think about Image for POA, but it might also be labeled for purge as well. Image herbicide. That's a good question. Let us see if Image is labeled for spurge. But yes, to answer your question, if it's dying off, it's more than likely the Image. It's definitely not the prodiamine. It's also unlikely to be the Princep, but it's but when it comes to Image, I always think of like nutsedge and spurge. Nutsedge and POA for that. But let me check the label really quick here and see if spurge is on there. And it might be. No, I don't. Not that I'm seeing, but it might get it. You might be getting just. It might not be on the label, but it might be damaging it or injuring it, Mike. But out of those three, that's what should be. It should be doing it. Princep. I don't think Princep would be doing that. If anything, it would have to be the Image, I believe. But yeah. But at any rate, if it's damaging it, we'll see if it actually does kill it off. It might just be injuring it. It'd be interesting to see if it actually dies, Mike. So continue monitoring it and let me know what ends up happening. What you might find is they might get a little sickly and then it'll just bounce right back. So we shall see. Time will tell. It always does. All right. Sundria T says, "Hi Ron, if I pay $4.99 to join your YouTube channel, will you answer my questions? Thanks." I'll tell you what. If you don't pay $4.99 to join my YouTube channel, I'll answer your questions anyway. I mean, I appreciate you doing it because it's a great way to support the channel. But it's not like I'll answer your questions either way. Like I answer more questions from people that don't pay me than I do for people that do pay me. But so it's your call. If you feel like supporting the channel, then by all means, I definitely appreciate people joining the channel membership. It's a great way to support the channel, but it's not like it's a requirement for me to answer your questions. So if you have a question, drop it in the chat and I'll look through it. And if you want to join and become a member, I appreciate that too. But the two are not required to answer your question. You don't have to join for me to answer your question. As a matter of fact, like most people, like when you wrote that, most people would just be like, "Hey, I got this going on. What's up?" And but at least you were nice, so I appreciate that. All right, so next up is Liz Lou. She says the YouTube likes for Arden 15 is saying Monaco Bermuda seed. Do they have a newer hybrid seed, or do you know of any link to it for Bermuda seed? Yeah, so Monaco is an option, Liz. As far as the replacement for Arden 15, I don't believe that's been announced as yet. I've not seen anything as yet as far as there being the replacement for Arden as yet. But Monaco's popular, Yukon's popular. you still have some time. If you wanted to see what different, you want to see a couple of different Bermuda grass seed options, check out Hancock Seed. Go to Hancock Seed website. They've got both several different types of Bermuda grass seed, and they also have pictures of it. Now, from pictures, there's something it's difficult to tell because you can't really gauge texture from pictures so much. But at least it'll give you a bunch of different options as far as color to look at and those types of things. So yeah, check out Hancock Seed's website if you're interested in just seeing different options for Bermuda grass seed. But the one that I have direct experience with are Princess 77, which you can't get anymore, and RN15, which you also can't get anymore, unfortunately. But Monaco and Yukon are both very well reviewed and well received. So you probably will have a good result with those if you decide between either one of them. All right, Du Dao says, hi, Ron. Do you know if sulfentrazone will stop lateral growth? I have 2-month-old seeded Bermuda lawn. I don't know. It's a good question. I'll take a screenshot if you don't mind, Du Dao, and get you an answer. I'll take that as a research topic for next week. So if you can hang out until next week or be patient until next week, I'll get an answer. Even if you're not here, I'll still answer the question. But I don't know off the top of my head if it will stop lateral growth. I can't imagine that it would. I mean, just thinking out loud here, I can't think that it would stop lateral growth. I mean, the big thing with Bermuda is if you want it to grow laterally, mow it. It sounds kind of counterintuitive, but the taller you let Bermuda grass grow, the less it's going to, the more it can grow up, the less reason it has to grow laterally. So if you want to get Bermuda do you want to encourage it to grow laterally, to begin to spread out and thicken up, just mow it more. Mow it more. And if you can mow it at a lower height, 1.5 inches or lower, that's going to really cause it to thicken up and begin spreading laterally. So that would be my thing if that's what you're really after. I've not heard of some sulfentrazone stopping lateral growth. I'm trying to think of anything I've heard of that really stops lateral growth in Bermuda outside of a verticutter, outside of a verticutting it. And even that doesn't really stop it. It just kind of resets it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'll do some research on that and get an answer for you. I've not heard of that one before, but if the impetus behind your question, I guess the background behind your question is you're trying to get your Bermuda to thicken up, mow it more, and then lower that height of cut just a little bit, and mow it more frequently. The more frequently you're able to mow it at a lower than typical height of cut, 1.5 inches thereabouts, it's really going to thicken up and start to look nice. So it's your call. But I'll look into that and we'll get you an answer for next week. And it's cool, man. I saw you just joined. Sandria TSE just joined as channel membership. So thank you so much for that. I really, really appreciate it. I'm going to clap it up for you. Thank you so much for joining. Again, it's not a requirement for me answering your questions, but I really do appreciate the support. So thank you so much. If you got a question, definitely drop it in the chat and I will do my best to answer it for you. All right, next up is Andrew Phillips. He says, Ron, I just want to say, you keep me motivated to mow 3 times a week. I did it last year with a rotary and the yard looked fine, but this year was my first year with real mowing and the grass truly looks like a golf course. Thanks, sir. That's awesome. It makes a huge difference, doesn't it? I mean, the more, literally, like I said, right? In that one video, I forget which one it was, is a couple months ago, where all things being equal, right? So you got equal soil, equal applications, equal products, everything else is equal. So your neighbor, you and your neighbor, he's going through your trash, or he knows he's following your schedule. He's putting on the exact same stuff on his or her lawn that you're putting on your lawn. Whose lawn looks better is going to come down to mowing. It's like he or she who mows most with the right equipment at the right height and that's sharp is going to win. Their lawn's going to look the best. Like a good example, like today, the lawn, if you guys saw the YouTube stories, I showed like a pan of the lawn before I actually mowed it. And I'm not sure if it came across in the video. I can show you guys again, but the like how tight and how nice it looks after a double cut is just, I mean, it doesn't really come across in video, but if you see it in person, it looks, it's a thing of beauty. It's a thing of beauty. I'll show you guys here really quick. Again, the color, I turf raked it, I beat it up quite a bit, but if it could come across how tight the turf is, like how like pool table smooth that lawn is right now, it's it's really hard to convey that. Pictures and video don't really convey that well. And literally the only thing that changed between the before and now is it got double cut. It got cut in one direction, it got cut in another direction, and literally just the fact that it got mowed, like really got a nice good cut on it, really made all the difference. So I'm not surprised, Andrew. Keep it up, because that's the thing that's going to separate you from your neighbor, right? Really, whoever has the most time to mow their lawn and get the proper inputs in, fertilize properly according to your soil test results, get your good biostimulant program, really then it just comes down to mowing. It really comes down to mowing. Kind of like what I have here in the infographic on the golf course lawn store is, I'll show you guys this. So really, people ask me how you get a great lawn in 5 easy steps. Just click on shop, scroll down. So the thing 1 is to eliminate weeds. Thing 2, get a soil test. Thing 3 is to fertilize your lawn based on said soil test results. And then step 4 is mow, and mow some more. And then finally, that's the result. So if you it doesn't take much, and then you can start getting a little more fancy and breaking out into, your biostimulant program. You start adding things like the carbon kit and you start really playing with the fertilizer you're using. You can really give it a nice color and pop. But as far as appearance, that's mowing. It's really mowing that makes a difference in that. So glad to hear that your lawn's looking great, man. Keep going. All right, next up is Christian. He says, hey, Ron, Soil Savvy report told me to add P and K, so phosphorus and potassium, at 45% and 60%. How is that fixed late in the summer, fall, Georgia, Bermuda, liquid or granular? So they should have told you. I've never seen one of those reports to know. I have to look at the soil test report to see exactly what they told you. But a lot of times they will say, add this many pounds per acre or this many pounds per 1,000 square feet. As far as applying those, I'm not sure what the report shows as far as recommendations. Like I'll tell you that again, not to recommend the My Soil Test Kit, but if you've gotten this would actually tell you what products to use that would fit that requirement. But what you can do, Christian, is send me an email with the soil test results if you don't mind. So my email is this, ron@golfcourselawn.com. Send me an email with it, take a screenshot of it or a picture of it, and send that to me. And I'll take a look at it, and I'll give you some recommendations, some options from both a liquid and granular that can address that. So yeah, at least it's not saying that you need a bunch of nitrogen, because that's not something that I would do this time of year. But you can get started on boosting your P and K this time of year. You can still do that, but nitrogen, I would not be pushing a lot of that, this late in the season. But to be able to answer your question, send me a picture of your soil test results, and I will get an answer for you. And you're very welcome. That's what I'm here for. That is what I'm here for. All right, next up is Stan G. Says, sorry, Ron, to my earlier question in reference to spectacle flow, I've got Empire Zoysia grass. Yeah, so again, we're going to have to be looking at the label for spectacle to get you an answer for that. Let me see if I can look here really quick and figure that out. Let's see if we can, because it's got this nice chart that shows you for grass type, like how much per acre. And then you just simply take that number and then divide it by 43 and change. And that will give you your per 1,000 square foot rate. So, yeah, so I can pull this up here really quick. And there is your spectacle flow label. Let me find the chart so I'm not wasting your time. And boom. All right, here we go. So this is the label for spectacle flow. And let me get you off the screen here so you can see it. So you can see it's for hybrid. So hybrid Bermuda is the higher rate. So that answers my questions. For hybrid Bermuda grass, you can go at the higher rate. So here's how you work this out, guys. A lot of times when you look at the, especially professional grade products like this that they really don't expect homeowners to buy, the application rates will be listed in a per acre amount. So if you take 10 fluid ounces, right, for hybrid Bermuda, and then you divide that by 43, it comes out to right around a little bit heavier than 0.20. It comes to 0.23 fluid ounces per 1,000 square feet, but 0.2 is it's close enough. So again, it's a little bit on the lower side, give yourself a little bit of headroom. But for zoysia grass, it's also showing the same thing of that 0.2 rate. Here's the thing though, if you want, you can split that up. You can do a single application at that rate, at the 10 ounce per acre rate, which again equates to, if you have it dumped in one of these, let me move over to this camera so I can show you real quick. If you have it dumped in one of these, and if you have like an old Primo Max bottle and you put your spectacle in this, so if you're kind of do one application at that higher rate than 0.20, this rate here, you'd get to, get my face out here, you'd get to that. That's going to cover 1,000 square feet mixed with a gallon of water. So that much 0.20 mixed with a gallon of water will cover 1,000 square feet, and that is the rate for hybrid Bermuda grass and also for zoysia grass, as the label tells us. I knew there was a different rate for one of the Bermudas, and it's common. It's the I should have known that because I actually use the 0.20 rate on my lawn. So yeah, so there you go. There you go, Christian, or sorry, Stan. That is the answer to your question. And again, I will put the label just to make it easy for you. I'll put the label in the chat as well. So that way you're good to go as far as reading that for yourself. So let's see here, at Stan G and Spectacle flow label. And here's the thing, there are a couple ways of doing it. Like if you get on Bayer's website, they actually have they show a couple different ways of doing it. You can do a single application at that higher rate, or you can split it up into multiple applications. They show one strategy that shows doing it in 3 applications. You're dividing that 10 ounce per acre rate over 3 applications for controlling POA. So there's different ways of doing it. It just depends on your time and which way you want to go. I've gotten great results doing a single application, but if you want to split it up, you can do that too. It's really, really your call. If you want that that label or that paper from Bayer, it's on their website. But if you want, email me and I'll get it to you. What I might do is I might post it up. I'll host it on my server somewhere, and then I'll link to it so you guys can get it if you want. But there's a couple different ways of doing it, Stan. So hope that helps. The label is in the chat, so take a look at that. And as you saw for your zoysia, that 0.2 rate is per 0.2 ounces with a gallon of water over 1,000 square feet should serve you well. All right, next up is, let's see here. Next up is Archie Amos. We got a super chat from him. Thank you so much, Archie. Appreciate you.
Super chat received.
So Archie, no question, just $25 to support the channel. So I really appreciate that, Archie. Thank you so much, sir. And for that, we will make you the show sponsor. It's been a while since I've seen you, Archie. Glad to see that you're doing well, sir, and that you're back. And here we go. There you go. Your name in lights. LG's been dethroned for now. You guys can fight it out, but he's flying at 35,000 feet. He's probably having a cocktail, enjoying life right now. He's probably not even watching the live stream anymore, for all we know, right? All right, so let me take Sandria's question here really quick, because I saw that he just became a channel member and he posted this question down here. So he says, actually I have 2 of them. First from Sandria, he says, hey Ron, how do I get rid of crabgrass? I use Weed Be Gone. I applied it to the weeds only, and it killed my grass in that spot. Okay, so what kind of grass did you have, Sandria? That's the thing. That's the first question I need to know. I see your question, Archie. I'm gonna get to it. I just saw it when I saw Sandria's. I will answer it. I promise. So as far as the Weed Be Gone, I'm not sure what's in that. I've never actually used those to know. But to answer your question, how do you get rid of crabgrass? I need to know what kind of grass you have. So the short answer, if you have Bermuda, ryegrass, fescue, zoysia, is to use quinclorac. But there are some grass types that is sensitive for. Like you would not want to use quinclorac if you have, let's say St. Augustine. That would not be good. It's going to damage it. So it depends on the kind of grass that you have. An inexpensive way or a less expensive way of getting rid of crabgrass and not having to go out and buy quinclorac and mix it and use a sprayer and all this kind of stuff is to use Spectricide. But again, it's really, really, really critical that you know what kind of grass you have so that you're spraying the herbicide that matches, that's safe for your particular grass type on your lawns. I can show you here really quick. So if you go down to one of the big box stores, you will see here this, that Wally World or Home Depot or Lowe's or any one of those, they will have this, but you want to make sure that you're using it on the correct grass types. Like it'll tell you right here, like that one is safe for Kentucky bluegrass, ryegrass, fescue, fine and red fescues, and then for warm season grass, zoysia, Bermuda, buffalo grass. But you don't want to put this on St. Augustine, centipede. There's a couple other grass types you don't want to spray this on. This is the easy way of going about it. It's like a combination product that's a little bit less expensive. If you want a more pro grade product for getting rid of crabgrass, you could use quinclorac. It's just by itself, and that mixed with surfactant or methylated seed oil and MSO is going to do a better job at eliminating the crabgrass. But you have to really read the label. You have to have a pump sprayer to apply it. So it really depends on which way you want to go. If you want, I'll put the label up here, or I'll put a link to the product, and you go read the label, and you can decide which one is a better fit for you. But again, it's I cannot stress enough how important it is that you read the label and that you select the herbicide you're going to apply based on your grass type. You really got to do that, or else you're going to have, the kind of outcome you had with the weed begone product. You know what I mean? And then also, as far as the application rates, like how heavily you apply it matters. So if you don't mind, once you figure out what kind of grass you have, and then let me know. If you want to send me an email, I'll help you out with as far as picking out a good product, a good herbicide to be able to knock that out. As far as knocking out the crabgrass, here's the thing to keep in mind though, Sandria. Crabgrass is easier eliminated earlier in the season than late, meaning that even if you use quinclorac, the product that I just linked in the chat, it is harder to kill crabgrass the older and more mature it gets. You really want to get rid of it earlier in the season if you can. So there is that. That's another consideration you wanna make as well. And as far as your question around what fertilizer should you use in the fall, the best way to answer that question is to get a soil test. So these are not that expensive. The soil test kit I recommend is one from My Soil. This will tell you what's going on in your soil, and based on that, we can select a fertilizer that is correct for your particular lawn, particular soil. In most cases, I don't recommend using high applications of nitrogen in the fall, because you have warm season grass, it's going to begin going dormant. You don't want to be pushing growth when the grass is trying to go dormant. Typically, a fertilizer with potassium is safe to use in the fall. A little bit of phosphorus is fine too, but you really don't want to be putting a lot of nitrogen into the soil this time of year. So again, it depends on your grass, depends on where you are in the country. The best way to know what you should be doing to your soil and to your lawn by extension is to get a soil test. We offer those on the Golf Course Lawn Store. If you go there, I can show you really quick. Then I get to Archie's question. He's gonna get mad at me. He's gonna throw tomatoes at me. I'm not forgetting Archie. I'm gonna go right. You're gonna be next, I promise. Is to go to the Golf Course Lawn Store, go to shop, and then soil test kits and pH adjustments right here. And the one you're gonna want to get is this one, the starter pack. It includes a soil test kit, and it includes one of these guys, a probe. You're going to need this to collect the samples. It makes it easier. You don't have to have one of these, but it makes your life way easier to collect the samples that you will use with this to mail it out. So this and this comes with a prepaid envelope. The scoop comes with everything you need to be able to do it. I can show you really quick here. We'll go back to this. It comes with the envelope. Comes with the deionized resin, or the ion exchange resin in deionized water. This is what behaves like a synthetic root that's going to absorb the nutrients in your soil. That whenever the My Soil gets it, they're going to be able to tell you what to use in your for as far as amendments to your soil. And then it comes with a scoop for putting the soil into that container. So it's not that expensive for what you get, and it's a great way to make an informed decision on how to take care of your lawn. So hope that helps, sir. If you need anything else, definitely let me know. Now on to Archie's question, which is, evening. I got to read it in the way Archie's probably saying it. It says, evening, young man. Question is about fescue. Is this a good time of year to turf rake and verticut? Now, as far as turf raking, yes. I've never really heard of anyone verticutting fescue, Archie. It might be a thing, but turf raking fescue is something that you hear about fairly often. And yes, now would be a good time of year to turf rake it. Verticutting, I've never actually heard that being done to fescue. But yeah, I absolutely would turf rake it. The only other thing I would say as far as that, if you're going to go that route, is don't go super aggressive at first. You know what I mean? So I have found with Bermuda, like most people will say, hey, you can't turf rake Bermuda, but you actually can. It tolerates it just fine. But what you want to do is not get too aggressive right away. So let's say that the My Soil test kit is the surface of your soil. This is your soil, right? This is the dirt. And your fescue is growing up here nice and tall. Fescue's loving its life. It's like, hey, look at me. I'm tall and green and looking awesome. I'm not Bermuda, but I'm still pretty awesome. Whenever you set your turf rake up, you don't want to set your turf rake up so aggressively that it's coming down and it's going past the grass and getting into the soil, and you're actually scratching at the soil. Set it to where it's a quarter inch, half an inch, because you got fescue is going to be tall anyway. Quarter inch, half an inch above the surface of the soil. That way, it's going to be less aggressive. You're going to be less likely to rip the fescue out, or thin out the lawn excessively too much. And you can always go more aggressive in another pass, but if you go too aggressive initially, it's kind of hard to put the grass back. So absolutely, as far as turf raking, sure, go for it. With it being cool season, this is the fall, and your fescue is really going to start taking off. It's a great time to begin doing those types of things, because the lawn's ability to recover from it is much better this time of year, but just start light. Don't go too aggressive initially. You know, again, you can always make multiple passes and go. You can lower it, work your way down lower and lower. But you know, once you take it out, you can't put it back in. So thanks for the super chat, sir. I really do appreciate it. I saw your question, your question after I got your super chat and after I saw Sundria's. I really do appreciate the support. If you have any other questions, let me know. Really do appreciate it. Okay, next up is Travis Winston with a super chat. Thank you so much, guys. Really do appreciate all the love and support. It helps me pay for the sharpening that I'm gonna have to get. That I'm getting done here to the Allet. So I do appreciate the love and support. You know, like the support that what was it? What did Eddie Murphy say in or the not Eddie Murphy, but the girl in Coming to America when she was doing like the fundraiser, where she says, you know, while we appreciate donations that jingle, we really appreciate the kind that fold. If you guys are too young to remember Coming to America, check it out. It's a really good movie. Could never be made today, but it was hilarious back in the 80s, back in the day. Really good movie. All right, thanks for the super chat. Received. And Travis Winston says, happy Friday, Golf Course Lawn Squad. Thanks for all the great, consistent info, Ron. You're very, very welcome. Travis, thank you for all the love and support. And yeah, Coming to America is really good. It's really good. I think it was a funny movie. I mean, but you have to have a sense of humor. If you're really, really sensitive, don't watch it. You probably won't like it. All right, where did I leave off on my way down to answering, let's see, Stan's questions and everyone else's question? I want to make sure I got you guys covered. Okay, so Mike here, he says, Mike Harvey says, Ron, you have the pictures backwards. The really good picture was before I top dressed, and the first ugly picture you showed was what it looks like now. The lawn just turned off, it seems. Okay, huh. That's right, Mark. You mentioned this last live stream. So let's take a look. Let's see if we can diagnose here. So you started out, and it looked like this. Okay, so this is what you started with. And then if we work our way back, so this is a little bit after top dressing. This is right before. This is right immediately after top dressing. And this is what it looks like now, huh? I don't know, man. It's Mike. I got to tell you, I've not really seen top dressing make a lawn worse. That's interesting. So, if you're still here in the chat, how much time passed? I thought you said it was like 4 weeks, but how much time passed between the picture from then it was like nice and green and where you are now? The only thing I can think of, the only thing I might say that could cause this, and I will tell you this, is that so after you top dress the lawn, if you were mowing it, I'm not sure if you're real mowing or not, it looks like you are, but if you're real mowing it, if the mower got dull, meaning the reel and bed knife, if it's not sharp, like that can cause the lawn, that regardless of you cutting it a lot, to look like this, because it looks like you've got some yellowing in there. I mean, it doesn't look like scalping. It looks like some yellowing in there. But so check that. So the question I would have for you is two things. One, how long between the two pictures? And then second, is your mower still cutting paper? So if you go out and you do the paper test, is it still nice and sharp towards cutting paper? I'd be interested in knowing if that is the case. So, because I've not really seen that where you top dress a lawn and it gets worse unless the equipment you're using is no longer sharp, and then it's not really the top dressing, but your mower's not sharp anymore. So, if you're still here, let me know in the chat. What's your, if you've done that check real quick, and if you can run out in the garage and check it really quick, that'd be good too. And we will try and get you sorted, man. All right, next up is Liz Lou. She says, yes, I live in Vegas, dry place. I actually like Vegas. Vegas is cool. The only time when I've gone to Vegas has always been for like a security conference for Black Hat or something work related. I've never gone there just for vacation. And it's cool. Vegas is cool. The Strip is fun for like 3 or 4 days. Like when you go there for like Black Hat and DEF CON, you end up staying a week, and like a week in Vegas is a lot. You start smelling like whatever they use in the casinos to keep so you don't smell smoke. But yeah, it's a fun time, Vegas. All right, next up is Gary Kellett Jr. He says, hey Ron, I have cool season lawn and we are in the 70s to 60s. Should I use a fast release or slow release fertilizer for the fall? It depends. It depends on how often you want to get out there and feed it, Gary. I am a fan of quick release or fast release fertilizers, ones that you apply every 4 to 6 weeks, because I like to do a spoon feeding program in my lawn. There's nothing wrong with using a slow release fertilizer, but if you want to do that, a fertilizer that lasts for 2 months, there's some that last even longer than that, and then just supplement with maybe some liquid here and there you can do that route. But I typically lean more towards the quick release, the fast release fertilizers than I do slow release. It's really your call. Either way can work. And when I say quick release, what I'm talking about is stuff like the flagship. So like stuff like Humic Max when we had it in stock, and products like this, right? So like flagship, there's stress blend. Like these are what I'm talking about when it comes to that. I am not talking about like straight urea when it comes to like fast release fertilizer. I don't really recommend that because most people don't apply it properly. And if you're not careful, you can very easily burn your lawn with it. So yeah, something like the flagship or stress blend, or again Humic Max, if we get that back in, hopefully next year, those would be good options. But it really depends on you. If you're fine with getting out in your lawn, if you want to get out there and fertilize once a month, then yeah, a quick release option is a great way to go. It really depends on which strategy you want to go. I will tell you this: I find you get more consistent color by doing an application every month and then supplementing with liquids as well. So I like to use the granular fertilizer for about half a pound of nitrogen, so to do the heavy lifting, and then fill in another zero point 0.2, 0.3 pounds of nitrogen using liquids. I find that produces great color, not too much growth, and it's just very consistent throughout the growing season. But it's more work, right? Because then you're putting a granular down at the beginning of the month, you're doing a liquid app at the beginning of the month, and then you're doing a liquid app in the middle of the month. So it just depends. It really depends on you. You can have a great looking lawn either way, but I think for consistency of color and not pushing a lot of growth or not excessive growth, I like a spoon feeding approach. But again, only negative is that it's more time consuming. So it really depends on you. All right, next up is Higgy Pop. He says, "Hey Ron, happy Friday. Time for some drinks. Looking forward to next Saturday." Yeah, man. So I'm drinking, guys, tonight. I'm not just doing water tonight. I got some lemonade, got some Publix lemonade. I'm just going, I haven't gotten any Milos. I think Milos has gotten harder and harder to come by. I don't know what's going on. So I'm on that Publix life, that Publix lemonade life, But yeah, next Saturday should be fun, Higgy. I think if you're able to make it out, definitely look me up. It'd be great to meet you in person. Okay, Mike Harvey is back. He says, "I'm just going to call it a season at this point and look forward to next year." Yeah, I mean, you can, but we want to figure out why. Because Mike, what you're experiencing where after top dressing the lawn doesn't get better is not common. It's not common. So we want to figure out why. So the more I think about it, I would lean towards check your equipment that is not sharp, because last season Alex had the same problem. We top dressed his lawn, and then he started mowing again, and it looked okay, but then no matter what, he was mowing as often as me. Like whenever my mower fired up, Alex's mower fired up. He's out there mowing whenever I did, and the color of his lawn looked a lot like how yours looks now, right? It just didn't. The green pop wasn't there. It just looked. It looked like it was halfway between dormancy and halfway between looking green. And then I don't know why it took us so long to actually do this. We actually I picked one of his grass blades and looked at it, and it was all ragged. And I said, "Is your mower cutting paper?" And he went out and checked it, and it was like a butter knife. It wasn't cutting at all. Literally, he went and got it sharpened, and within a week, the turf completely turned around. So don't discount how much of a negative impact cutting your lawn with a dull equipment can have on it. You know what I mean? So not cutting it enough is not good, but also cutting it frequently with equipment that's not sharp is also very bad. So check that. That's what I'm leaning towards, because top dressing really shouldn't make your lawn worse. Really shouldn't. You would be a first if that were the case. I would not throw the towel in just yet, man. There's still hope. We can get some green back into that lawn. Check your mower though. Make sure it's nice and sharp. If you don't mind, Mike. All right, Zave is up next. He said, I just pulled the plug and ordered some Champion GQ perennial rye. Look at you going to go overseed your lawn. He says, how can we adjust your warm season grass program for a cool season program? Have not dropped my pre-emergent app. So for perennial ryegrass, Zave, I think you're in the academy. What you can do is, that's a good question. I should put together a calendar for ryegrass. Ryegrass tends to need a little bit less nitrogen than Bermuda does, but to be completely honest, there's not a ton of differences. As far as herbicides, there's a big difference, but as far as like how you feed it, you need to figure out like how much nitrogen, how much nutrient that particular grass type calls for. I want to say that rye is going to be less. It's going to be quite a bit less than Bermuda is going to need. And then while it's actively growing, you just feed it, right? So it's not a huge change between what you do with Bermuda. It's really the amount that you're putting down, and obviously the times of year. So now is when you would be really feeding a cool season lawn because it's growing more aggressively, whereas you would not be doing that for Bermuda. So it's really not, there's not going to be that much in it, Xavier, or I'm sorry, or Moro. But that's a good point. I don't have that on the store and the blog, so that'd be worth putting together for you guys. That's a good thing to screenshot and for me to work on. And you did the right thing. You didn't do pre-emergent, so that means you're going to get good germination with your Champion GQ perennial rye. I don't know what that is, but it sounds good. Whatever it is, it sounds good. It's got Champion, it's got GQ in it. Sounds like it should be a good-looking grass seed. All right, next is John Gotch. He's up next. He says, I covered my ditch with a culvert, added dirt, sand, but my zoysia is showing dry areas where the culvert is underneath. What could be done to prevent this? Help me. Okay, so John, how much distance, and could be an expensive fix, how much distance is there between the top of the culvert and the top of the lawn, the soil, the surface? So if it's only a couple of inches, what's probably happening is the culvert is I'm sure if it's a concrete one, is holding on to a lot of heat, and is causing problems with the grass growing in that area. In other words, it's no different than if you had buried concrete, or like someone poured concrete or had some other debris near the surface. So really, what you would have wanted is for there to be 8 inches. If you get 12 inches, even better, but at least 8 inches between of material or soil between any kind of concrete or barriers or anything that you have under there, like your culvert, and the surface, to prevent these kinds of problems. So if you're still in the live stream, let me know that. Like, chime in as far as like how much distance or like how much dirt and soil and sand is there between the top of the culvert and the surface. If it's only a couple of inches, you're likely going to have a problem. The grass is going to struggle in that area than if you had created, you'd buried it a bit deeper. So yeah, the time to prevent it would have been in making sure there was enough, that the culvert was buried deep enough. So if you're still here, chime in, let me know how much distance there is, because essentially what you did, if I'm understanding this correctly, is you put like, it's no different than putting like a concrete or a piece of plywood near the surface. You know what I mean? It creates the same kind of effect. All right, next up is Dwayne's World. Dwayne's World, it's party time. Excellent. He says, hey, Ron, I have a couple of fruit trees in my yard and was curious if this is bad for the lawn soil. I have heard it will make the soil acidic. Grass has a hard time growing and always assumed it was because of the shade, but maybe this is not a shade issue. What say you? I've not heard of fruit trees causing the soil to be acidic. It could be a thing, but if I had to, put most of the blame, I would lay it more towards the fact that there's shade. So if there is, I'm trying to think, Dwayne, you have Bermuda, right? I think you do. But if you have Bermuda, if the question is if you have Bermuda, then we're gonna use that old mantra that Bermuda and shade are like mayonnaise and ice cream. They just don't go together. There's a lot of things you can do with Bermuda, but shade is not one of them. So if you have fruit trees and the grass is struggling underneath the fruit trees, it's more than likely a shade problem. I mean, could the soil being acidic be possibly a thing? Maybe, but I mean, here's what we could test for that. One, I guess get yourself a soil test kit and actually measure it, check the areas that are underneath the trees and see if the soil levels are it's coming back as acidic. But I think what you're really going to find is the shade is what's your culprit, because even for grass that is more shade tolerant as far as warm season grass goes, take like a zoysia, right, which tolerates shade a bit better than Bermuda does. Even then, zoysia loves sunlight, loves direct sunlight, just like Bermuda does. So what you will find is even if the grass growing under the trees, there's enough sunlight there for it to not die out completely, it is still going to do worse than the area that is getting a lot of direct sunlight. Kind of like, the shrub that's in my front lawn, the one I always hate trimming, you guys make fun of me. Like, that shrub is only about 4 feet tall. It's really not that big, but it creates enough shade that a foot, 2 feet around it, like the grass doesn't really grow well there, because there's enough shade that comes from that tree throughout the growing season that the grass is always thin there. It's not as thin than if I just take one big step back, like 3 feet away from it. There's a night and day difference in the density, the color of the grass compared to right up against that shrub. And that's a shrub. It's only 4 feet. You know what I mean? So imagine what a fruit tree could do. So again, if we want to get scientific about this, measure it, get yourself a soil test, and we can see if the soil is acidic, but I am going to say that it's more than likely a shade problem. Again, mayonnaise and ice cream, shade and Bermuda. Both things do not go together. All right, Higgy Pop is up next. He says, let's all hit the like button. It's free. It is free. It didn't cost you guys anything. So if you guys are here in the live stream, and there's 90 of you guys present, some people have come, some people have go. If you guys have not yet hit the like stream, the like button, I'd really appreciate if you guys did that. It gives me a chance here to take a sip of my lemonade, wet my whistle a little bit. It's a free way for you guys to support the channel, and it doesn't cost anything. So if you guys wouldn't mind tapping that like button ever so gently, I'd really appreciate it while I look here for the next question and or comment. Okay. Next we have Corey Grindo up next. He says, I have Bermuda lawn that is 8 weeks old. Have you heard that you shouldn't put pre-emergent on new sod? Should I just accept the winter weeds and start next spring with pre-emergence? Yeah, so I did I'll tell you about the story, Corey. My lawn was sodded in December, and it got pre-emergent in March, like late March of that year, of the following, like 3.5 months later, almost 4 months later. And it did just fine. But yes, as far as a brand new lawn, if you can limit putting pre-emergence on it, that would be ideal. Really limiting any herbicides is really is best. 8 weeks is a bit young. But you know, what I might do is this: if we're 8 weeks in, what you might do is, if you are going to get some POA in your lawn, you are going to get some weeds, some winter weeds. But if you can wait until like maybe December, or maybe get your spring pre-emergent down a little bit earlier, you know what I mean? Like late January, early February for your spring pre-emergent, that could be a strategy. I mean, if it were me, I would likely, if it's 8 weeks, that's like 2 months. I would wait until, like, if it were me, I'd probably wait till October and then do pre-emergent. But that's me. If you're trying to just be a bit more cautious, more conservative, you can just give up. You can just surrender and just say, you know what, I'm going to deal with weeds in my lawn this year. I'm going to deal with POA in my lawn. I'm just going to spray them out, get rid of them using post-emergence, and then get an early start on controlling or preventing weeds for the spring by getting a pre-emergent down in like late January, early February. You can get rid of them using, you know, the weed that you're going to have, that you're going to see the most, especially when the lawn is dormant, is more than likely going to be POA. And you can use a herbicide called Certainty. Works very, very well. I can show you here real quick. Works very well against POA annua. So you go to shop and then weed killer at the golf course lawn store. This product is very, very good against POA annua, which is a common weed that you're going to have this time of year. So Certainty with a bit of surfactant, that will knock it out. That's going to give you an option for controlling the weeds, and not have you apply pre-emergent to the lawn. So you can just take care of the POA after the fact versus trying to prevent it with pre-emergent. Because really, if you are trying to keep POA out of your lawn, the time when you want to be applying pre-emergent is like now. And given that it's a brand new lawn, you know, it's only 8 weeks old, just coming up on 2 months old, and you might want to wait till, give it more time, or wait till next year if you want to be conservative, then just realize that you can go the post-emergent route for taking care of the weeds, and just wait till early next spring for getting your pre-emergent down. So yeah, so the advice that you got is good advice. Bermuda will tolerate it more so than other grass types. Like if you told me that this were like a fescue lawn or a ryegrass lawn, the like common guidance is you wait an entire year. So if you were to seed fescue now, you wouldn't do pre-emergent until the following fall under ideal circumstances. Bermuda, it will tolerate it just fine. So you can give Bermuda, 3-4 months, and then you can hit it with pre-emergent, and it does just fine. But 8 weeks, that is a bit young. So you can give it a bit more time, and just realize that you are going to have to deal with some weeds this winter. But no big deal. There's products to get rid of it. I mean, the big thing you have to look at it from this standpoint, right, Corey, is you spent all this time and money getting the new sod put in. You know, if you got to deal with a few weeds over this fall and winter, it's not that big a deal. Again, it's not hard to get rid of them, and you don't want to. If anything, you don't want to do anything that's going to take a chance of damaging the Bermuda. So the more I think about this, the more I talk about it, talk this out along with you, even though you can't really talk back, is let's hold off until an early pre-emergent for application for like like late January, early February, and just take care of any weeds that pop up with just post-emergent herbicides. That's going to be the best of both worlds. You're not going to take a chance of damaging or doing anything that prevents the Bermuda from rooting in nicely, and it gives you a way to control POA in your lawn using post-emergence. So there you go. Congrats on the new lawn. Bermuda's pretty awesome. What kind did you get? You got to tell us. If you're still here in the chat, let me know what kind of Bermuda you got. All right, next is Liz Lou. She says, well, I got to solve all the problems before spring. Thank you, Ron. Middle of my soil test now. Cool, very nice. I forgot. Yeah, Vegas, you're 3 hours behind, 3 hours back. So, or we're 3 hours forward. So yeah, you still have time to get to the post office. Next up is Neil Crossland. He says, hey, Ron, I used the Blindside Surge cocktail that you suggested on Doveville last week. Great results. It knocked out many other weeds too. Thanks for the suggestion. Well, again, it was a suggestion that was given to me. I did not originate that. That was not, I didn't just pull that out of the ethos and be like, hey, you know what? Blindside Surge. It's a buddy of mine that then all he does is spray lawns for a living. And he was very impressed with the results I'm getting with Celsius on Doveweed. He's like, man, normally it doesn't yellow it that much and doesn't damage it that well. So you're getting really good results. You're getting better than normal results typically that you would get against Doveweed using Celsius. However, if you want to just really get rid of it, Blindside and Surge that's what he does. And you think about it, he's in the business of coming out and fixing the problem on the first go around. He doesn't have time to come back and spray lawns 2 and 3 times to get rid of an issue. So I'm glad to hear that it's working well for you, Neil. Awesome, glad to hear that. It's not an inexpensive herbicide combination. So again, typically when it comes to herbicides, in most cases, you get what you pay for. So it tends to cost a bit more. So I am not surprised that you're getting a good result with it. Good stuff. All right. Dwayne's World says, at Liz, I agree with Ron. It looks like an irrigation issue or the sod didn't root in. Yeah, man. The way that looks, it looks just, it's how dry and it looks really dead. I don't even say it looks dormant. It looks dead to me. It looks like whenever they did the sod, it never established properly. But again, before going through all the trouble of doing seed and everything else, let's get a soil test done. You're already doing that. And then let's go forward. Let's march forward in anger with data. So we're doing it with, from a standpoint of information. Stephen Edmonds is in the house. He says, stopping in to say hi. Thanks as always. I appreciate you, Steve. Thanks for coming and hang out. Looks like you're out there playing guitar with your buddies, having a great time. Guys, I actually got corrected. So a friend of mine is a musician. I was used to say bass guitar. He's like, Ron, it's not a bass guitar. It's a bass. Like bass is its own thing. There's no such thing as a bass guitar. So and I saw that and I thought about just, my correction, being corrected this week. I was saying, hey man, it's not a bass guitar, it's bass. I'm like, all right, sorry, bass. I get it. All right, next up is Eric T. He says, hey Ron, nice to have you live. Can I put some glyphosate on dormant Bermuda and to kill weeds? I do not. Okay. Can you? Yes. Do I recommend it? No. So if you are putting the glyphosate down on Bermuda in an area of your lawn that you do not care about, then by all means proceed. Right? Go forth and conquer. I am not a fan of putting glyphosate on dormant Bermuda as a way to get rid of weeds. It's because really the only benefit to going with the glyphosate route versus using a selective herbicide like Celsius or Certainty, depending on what you're trying to kill, is that it's cheap. The big thing is glyphosate is inexpensive. It's an inexpensive herbicide. It's non-selective. It works fairly well against a lot of different weeds. But it's not worth it, in my opinion, to take the chance of spraying what appears to be dormant Bermuda with a non-selective herbicide, only to have springtime roll around and you've got patches in your lawn that are dead or lagging behind everything else because you use glyphosate. I have seen firsthand, a neighbor of mine firsthand did exactly what you're talking about doing. His grass he thought was dormant. It was brown when he sprayed it. When springtime rolled around, he had little pie dishes in his lawn where he sprayed with glyphosate. Now, did the Bermuda come back? Yes, but it looked ugly until like June. You know what I mean? So it is, if you get it wrong, it can be very unsightly. And again, the only benefit to doing this is it's inexpensive. So what I might do, Eric, instead is, if you can figure out what kind of weeds you have, they're gonna, and then pick a selective herbicide and target them with that. That is what I would recommend instead of using glyphosate on your Bermuda. It can work. There are people that do it, and there are people that do it and they get a good result. They get away with it. But I'm telling you, if your grass is not fully dormant, if you don't get down there and you check and there's any kind of green to where it takes up that glyphosate, you're not going to know now, but come springtime, you're going to see the results of the damage. So I am not a fan of doing that. It's your call. For me, glyphosate and Bermuda really only, I do that in like mulch beds, sidewalks, driveways, areas where I am trying to kill the Bermuda, or I don't care if the Bermuda in that area gets destroyed or damaged, but I don't use it on my lawn. I don't use it in the areas where I want the lawn to look nice. So your call. I would look into Celsius and Certainty. We carry both of them on the Golf Course Lawn Store. They're both excellent, excellent selective herbicides, and they will kill a lot of weeds in your lawn and not damage your Bermuda. So that's my 2.5 cents on the matter. Next up is Half. He says, another Friday, another Q&A with the grass god. Far from it, more like the grass and neophyte. I'm learning just like you guys. He says, the Bermuda, whatever, the real mowing rock star. Ladies and gentlemen, Ron Henry. Okay, Half, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for coming to hang out. The one thing you did say that is true there is my name is Ron Henry. Everything else subject to opinion. All right, next up is Stefan. I'm going to butcher this. Stefan Patko. Stephanie here. Thanks for all the great info. You're very, very welcome, Stephanie. Thanks for coming to hang out. So it's Stephanie Patko. And what is that you have? What is that? Is that a it's not a rabbit. Is it a mouse? I don't know what kind of pet you have. It's a hamster? I know. I should be better on my pets. I don't know what it is. It's very cute, whatever it is in your avatar. But I appreciate you coming to hang out. Thank you so much. I do appreciate the support. All right, next up is Isaac. He is back. He says, I did it last year for seeding. Noticed that the grass that existed had no issues. This is basically to clean it up and bring the stalk down. I have Midnight KBG and the Barenbrug perennial ryegrass. Okay, so if you guys remember Isaac earlier in the live stream, he was the one that scalped his perennial ryegrass and Kentucky bluegrass lawn. And he did it. He said there was no problems with lawn. It recovered just fine. He did it to clean it up and to bring the stalk down. So cool. That's cool to know, Isaac. I did not know that scalping was a commonplace practice in cool season grass. I hear about in warm season grass, Bermuda zoysia, we do it all the time, every year. Sometimes multiple times a year, like beginning of the season, and then again like mid-season. But I've not really seen a lot of content or heard of people doing that for cool season grass. So cool. Good to know that it's also a thing for that as well, and that it tolerates it. And then PVD, I'm going to mess this up. PVT Do Nut says professional football stadiums do it. Cool. Yep. So they do it as well. All right. Good. Are you talking about scalping the rye and KBG PVT, or are you talking about overseeding Bermuda with ryegrass or some cool season grass? Which one are you talking about? All right, next up is DJS1. He says, hey, Ron, I'm really enjoying your channel and the information you're providing. What are your thoughts on the Hudson Star reel mower? I currently have a Swarm, but seriously considering the Hudson Star. It depends. I mean, it looks like I have not used one personally. And the cut that I've seen in their videos looks like it produces a really nice cut. It's pretty expensive for a push reel mower. I think it's almost like $2,000. They're pretty expensive as far as a push reel mower goes. So I'm not surprised that it produces a good cut, but I've never used one in person to be able to tell you. So I can't really say, yes, you should actually go out and get one. Here's what I would say this. If you have a smaller lawn, sub 1,000 square feet or something that's just smaller and you don't mind push reel mowing it, then it's probably a good option. I've never used it myself to know how well it does. But for me, I would have a hard time paying $2,000 for a push reel mower. But that's me. Then again, I have like an Allet, which is, that the Allet C27 is a very expensive electric reel mower. So it really depends on who you're talking to. Some people would say that spending that much on an electric reel mower or is craziness. So it really depends. It depends on what you're after. The benefits, I'd say, to the Hudson Star or any push reel mower is that there's no gas. There's practically no maintenance. You sharpen it, but that's true for any mower. And when you want to go out and mow, you literally take it out of the shed and you just go mow. There's nothing to charge, no fuel to buy. There's none of that. So there's a convenience factor associated with it. There's also exercise, because there's more work to use one of those than it is to use electric or some kind of self-propelled mower. And as far as how it compares to the Swordman, they're different. You're talking about a mower, you're talking about a greens type style push mower versus an interchangeable cartridge system mower that will verticut, turf rake. It'll do a bunch of different things. So they're completely different in my opinion. I don't know that I would really compare them. As far as the quality of cut, I don't know. It's hard to say. You'd probably get a good cut with both of them, assuming they're set up properly. But it just depends. I've never used a Hudson Star, so I can't tell you which way I would go. For me though, $2,000 for a push reel mower is not something that I would do given my situation, because I got a big lawn, and my days of wanting to push and reel mow, 11,000 square feet are long beyond me. So for me, it's not a good fit. But for a smaller lawn, it could work. So look at the reviews, look at some of the other YouTubers that have content on it and see what they think. And, if you're able to get your hands on one, to borrow one and see how it does. Cause it's an expensive experiment if you don't like it. If you can find someone locally that has one that lets you borrow it, or let you go by their place and make a couple passes with it just to make sure that it's doing what it performs what you want. That might be a good way to go. But put it this way, for $2,000, you can buy a pre-owned Greensmaster for that, like a decent one for that, or you can buy almost a brand new True Cut for that. So that's what I'm looking at. But it really depends on you. Okay, next is Andrew. He is back and he says, Ron, instead of using liquid prodiamine, I want to use the granular prodiamine as part of the Image and Princep cocktail. I think there shouldn't be an issue since it's still prodiamine. No, there isn't. But you're just doing the whole idea behind the using the liquids is that the prodiamine, Princep, and Image all play nicely together, and it just saves you time. You can do prodiamine and granular and then go follow that up with Princep and Image in a backpack sprayer. You can absolutely do that, but you're negating one of the benefits for that approach, which is just, you're just like a one and done type thing. Like you're mixing everything you need, a couple of pre-emergents, a post-emergent in the sprayer, same time, one application, and you're done. Whereas what you're recommending, or what you're going to do, you're going to make two passes. One where you are going to be putting the granular down, and then another one where you're going to be walking the lawn again with the Image Princep cocktail. And as far as results, you're going to get a good result. It's going to work. It's just more work, if you see what I'm saying. So yeah, there's no issue with doing that. But it's just more work than just mixing, going all liquids. You know what I mean? But however, if you already got the prodiamine in granular, then that's a good reason to do it, right? So you're not having to go buy a liquid instead of and just have the granular bag sitting around. All right, next up is Greg Lyon. He says, I sent an email yesterday on the progress of my sand leveling project. Is there anything more I could do to get these bare spots to fill in with green before it gets much cooler? Thank you. Greg, I think I do have a picture from you. I think I do. Yes, I do. Yeah, so here is the state of Greg's lawn. He sent a picture, and I meant to show this, so let me get your comment off of here. So this is Greg's lawn. If you guys remember from previous live streams, probably 2 or 3 live streams ago, it was much more of a sand lot compared to how it is now. To answer your question, Greg, not really. It's really going to be a time thing. You've got plenty of sunlight. Like what I'm seeing there, you've got plenty of sun. And I'm sure you're mowing around the areas where the sand is. You're mowing around the areas where the sand is. I wouldn't recommend mowing over the sand. So really, it's just a time thing. If you're still feeding the lawn, if you're still fertilizing it, you can do that. Again, I wouldn't push a ton of nitrogen, but you can get by with like a low nitrogen input to help continue to encourage the grass to grow and continue mowing it. That's going to encourage that spread. But that's still a bit, man. It will fill in more before the season is completely done. But to tell you that that's going to be completely dense and completely 100% filled in, I can't say for sure. But what I would say is if you want to do another feeding that's lighter on nitrogen, like a 7% nitrogen, something like the stress blend, like a 7-0-20, that would be a good option. And then just keep up with your mowing. That's the best I can tell you. Next year it's going to be awesome, but that's still quite a bit to fill in, especially that big one you've got there. That's the closest to us there on the left, the lower left there. That's quite a big spot. I'm not sure what that represents. It looks like it's 10, 15 feet to me, but I don't know. It's hard to know from a scale standpoint how big that is. But yeah, so keep up with your mowing, I'd say. And if you can do a light feeding, keyword light, do not go out and like go, blast it with like straight urea or, I don't even know that I would even use flagship this late. You know what I mean? I would do like a stress blend, like the 7020. And if you want to spray liquids, like liquid fert, like Turfplex, again, with that, you're not putting down that much nitrogen. That will help as well. But yeah, it's just going to be a time thing, unfortunately, man. You've got plenty of sunlight from what I'm seeing in those pictures. It's just keep mowing it and time. That's the best I can tell you. Sorry, I don't have a better answer for you, but that's, I think, is what you're looking at. All right, next is Mike Harvey. He says, the spurge is not dying or even unhappy, still going strong. That's why I asked. If it was supposed to die, then I messed up the application and hoped that I didn't. Yeah, so image is okay, so it's not dying. So I read your comment wrong. So image is not labeled, from what I just checked, to kill spurge. So it should not have done that. If you want to kill spurge, a cheap and inexpensive way to do it is just go get yourself some Spectricide. Like spurge is really not that hard to kill. Spectricide will kill it effectively. Celsius will really kill it like effectively. So I mean, if you've got Celsius, use that. That will get rid of spurge. Or if you want to go the less expensive route, so this would be the Mac Daddy for getting rid of spurge. Like this is going to work really well, very quickly. It's going to turn it really nice, dry, and crispy. But if you want a less expensive route, you can go with this. Spectricide will also kill spurge, but it just depends. If all you've got is just spurge, then Spectricide could work. You know what I mean? But if you've got anything else, any other broadleafs, then I would lean more towards Celsius. Like this is gonna work better than the Spectricide will. It's gonna work better. It's gonna work faster, and it's gonna kill it. Like one application is gonna be gone for this season anyway. So yeah. So it's your call on that, Mike. Yeah, it's not really what image is labeled to kill is POA and sedges. That's what it's really labeled for. So sedges, POA. There's a few other weeds that are on there, but those are the two ones that people typically use image for as far as to kill. It's not spurge is not on the label. That's why when you said it was image, it was damaging. I was like, oh, I don't know about that. It shouldn't be doing it, and it turns out I read your question or your comment wrong. So apologies for that. Get yourself some Celsius or use some Spectricide, and that will knock out the spurge. Celsius, literally within 10 days, you'll kill the spurge with it. Spectricide might take a bit longer. Okay, next up is Rolo C. And he says, hi, Ron, what's best to kill nutsedge? Depends on the grass you have. If you have warm season grass, so Bermuda, zoysia, any warm season grass, really. I'm trying to think if there's any that you can't use certainty on. And I don't think there really is any. It works on pretty much all of them. This is what I would recommend. Certainty is the Mac Daddy product, the Bee's Knees product for killing sedges. It's also very, very devastating against POA. So you can spray it, you can apply it to Bermuda, Bahia, Buffalo, Centipede, St. Augustine, Seashore, Paspalum, Kikuyu, and zoysia lawn. So pretty much all your warm season lawns, it will take care of. It'll do POA, very good against that because my neighbor next door had it. We used it this spring, awesome. Pretty much it has Kalinga, and for sedges, really should just say all the sedges because this is, again, for as far as, again, in my opinion, the best product that you can use for sedges in warm season grass. It's really hard to beat certainty. The only thing I would add along with this is surfactant. So get certainty, get some surfactant to go along with it, and that's gonna you'll be good to go. Really, what you're gonna find is you're gonna spray. So you'll take 2 gallons of water. 2 gallons of water and 3 small scoops. 3 of the small scoops of, I don't have one here to show you, but it's got in there, it comes with a measuring container. It's got a big scoop and small scoop. So 3 of the small scoops of certainty. I promise you it's not gonna look like very much, but it doesn't take a lot. 3 of the small scoops with a couple ounces of surfactant in 2 gallons of water. Give that a good shake. If you wanna add some marker dye in there to be able to see where you spray it, that's a good idea too. And that will take care of your sedges. When you spray it, for the first few days, you're not going to see anything. You're going to spray it, and then it really is not till around day 10 is when the sedges are going to start yellowing, and then it's going to really accelerate how it dies off. But as far as again, my opinion, one of the best products you can use for killing sedges and POA in warm season grass that's truly effective. And when it comes to sedges, all of them, Certainty is what I would use. We carry it at the golf course lawn store, and it's an excellent product. That is what I would use if you have warm season grass. So hope that helps, Rolo C. If you have any other questions, let me know. All right, LJ is up next. He says, hello, Ron. Bermuda grass in Atlanta. What should I have on it now for a great spring and summer? Okay, so what you should be doing this time of year is you should be doing pre-emergent. If there's only one thing you do to your lawn as far as application or things you apply to it this time of year, it should be pre-emergent. So I will show you here really quick, LJ. If you go to the golf course lawn store right here, golfcourselawn.store, and share my screen, and you go to, when you go there, you'll get this page. This page is not going to be useful. So you're going to have to click on shop and then go to weed killer and then scroll down, and you're going to have a couple of different options for pre-emergent herbicides. If you like the granular route, we carry both dithiopyr and prodiamine. Now, between which of these, which you use, either one of them will work. Dithiopyr, if I were going to choose pre-emergent for the spring, I like dithiopyr more so than I like prodiamine, because it has the ability to kill young crabgrass. If crabgrass is established, it's not going to do much for you. But for young crabgrass, which is what germinates in the spring, dithiopyr is going to work better. So for this time of year, prodiamine, like this guy here, is going to be your jam. Get a bag of this, apply that, and go forth and conquer. If you want a granular, that's going to be easy. If you want a liquid product, or prodiamine liquid form, you can get this. This is a 5 pound jug. If you have a smaller lawn, like less than 6,000 square feet, you've also got this here in a 5 ounce. This will cover up to 6,000 square feet thereabouts at the warm season application rate. So it really depends on what you're after. There are more exotic options for pre-emergence, but they're going to be a lot more expensive, and you're going to need a backpack sprayer or a sprayer of some sort to apply them properly. So this time of year, what I would say is get prodiamine, get yourself a bag of prodiamine. And the other thing I would do this time of year as well, LJ, is do a soil test. So go to shop and then so your prodiamine is going to be under the weed killer section, and then the soil test is under the soil test section. So go there, pick this up. This is a starter pack. That's going to give you a soil test kit and the tool for collecting the cores, which makes doing that a lot easier. And the reason why we want to do a soil test now is that if your soil is trending more acidic, which a lot of the soil in Georgia tends to, then what's going to do is then it's going to let us know that we need to do a lime application. And given that soil pH takes longer to adjust and correct than like macronutrients and other nutrients that the soil needs, then knowing how that information now is better than doing a soil test in the spring and finding out, hey, my pH is like 5.2 or something crazy, and now I've got to put my lime app down. I've got to wait for it to ramp up. It takes a while for pH to adjust. So getting the data to be able to make those kinds of adjustments now, like the fall, is a very smart thing to do, so that when springtime rolls around, you're good to go. So if your soil test comes back and says, hey, your pH is low, we can get a lime app down, but say it also comes back and says, hey, your nitrogen is really low and all your other macros are low. The macros I don't really care about as much right now. I mean, we can do a phosphorus app if you want, and a potassium app now, but the nitrogen we can wait until springtime. We can wait till spring to correct that, because that doesn't take long for the grass to be able to take advantage of it. But the thing that influences how fertilizer works in your soil, then by extension your grass, is the pH. So you really want to make sure, and this is the time of year to get a soil test, because that's going to allow us to make any adjustments between now and springtime, so that whenever March time rolls around and the lawn's starting to green up, you're good to go as far as just to hit the ground running and get out there and dominate the neighborhood. So get your pre-emergent down, do a soil test, and those are the major things. Based on what the soil test comes back with, you may or may not want to do a potassium app, like a light potassium app to kind of close out the season. But that's the extent of it. That's like a little sweetener. That's the only other thing I would do on top of that. As far as mandatories, pre-emergent, absolutely. As far as really, 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 really smart to do, getting a soil test done. And then as far as an optional extra, but not strictly necessary, if you want to do a potassium app to close the season out, that's fine as well. So hope that helps, sir. We have all that in stock at the Golf Course Lawn Store, so just go there and check that out. And if you have any other questions, let me know. Good stuff. All right, we got a super chat here from Mr. Robert Majoros. Let me get down here and get that. I don't want the captain getting mad at me, so let me make sure I take care of that. Appreciate you so much, Robert.
Super chat received.
I don't see any questions around that. I don't see any other questions you have. So I guess you're just supporting the channel. And I see Autumn has a question here. And yes, I know she's down lower long, but she's my daughter, so she gets priority. She says, "Hola, what's a better weed and feed, granular or liquid spray?" Now here's the thing, Ott. You should know. Here's the thing. Your dad. I remember you have a YouTube channel around lawn care. We have these conversations in chat and whatnot. He says also, best lawn care channel on YouTube. You're biased, but I appreciate that. And as far as weed and feed, you know what? We'll talk, because I'm not a huge fan of it depends on what you're talking about as far as weed and feed goes. If the product that I was just recommending to the gentleman earlier with the question before you is technically a weed and feed product. Like if you look at this, like the prodiamine and the dithiopyr products, so these are both technically weed and feeds, right? There's no nitrogen, no phosphorus, but 7% potassium. And again, same thing, 7% potassium. So this is technically a weed and feed product. Like these I'm okay with, but what I wouldn't want to see you doing this time of year is, having a weed and feed product that's got a lot of nitrogen in it, and you're blasting along with that when it's trying to go to sleep, when it's trying to go dormant. So something like this, where you're just putting a potassium app, like a light potassium app, I'm good with that. But some of the weed and feeds are really designed more for springtime use than this time of year. All right, so there you go. You jumped the line. You got your question answered. But I guess having the last name Henry has its privileges, right? All right. Let me scroll back up here and get to the next question before I get people yelling at me. Next up, we got, I think it's Vahid Navi is next. I think that's correct. Make sure I didn't skip anyone. I don't think I did. All right, I didn't. All right, Vahid says, how can I increase the pH of my lawn? Great question, Vahid. So when it comes to increasing soil pH, you're going to want to do a lime application. Now, when it comes to lime, there's more than two, but there's two major categories, two major types. There's calcitic lime and there's dolomitic lime. So which one do you want to use? If you look at your soil test results, and your soil test results show that your magnesium levels are low, then you're going to want to use dolomitic lime. If your magnesium levels are fine, then go with calcitic lime. Does it make a huge difference either way? Not really. But if your magnesium levels are low, dolomitic lime tends to have more magnesium in it from a percentage standpoint, so that makes more sense to do that. To go with that versus a calcitic. And I can see if I can get a soil test up here to actually show you what I am talking about. I'll pull one up. But yeah, so as far as which way to go, a lime application. As far as which type of limes to use, calcitic or dolomitic, I have a video last year on this very topic that will explain it to you probably even better than the job I'm doing right now live. But I will show you, I'll send you this video as well so you can watch that, because one, it's a question I don't get very often. It is a topic near and dear to my heart, and it's it explains how to pick the correct product. I'm also going to try and pull up a soil test result here as well and show you what I'm talking about. Give me one sec here to sign in, and if we can do this. All right, and I'm in. And this video will show you how to choose the correct lime. At least I thought I had one. Let me see here. There it is. Got it. Found it. All right, cool. So this video is one that I did last year that will show you, that talks all about pH and about choosing lime for your lawn. So soil pH video. So watch this, but also if you want an example, let me see if I can find my soil test result from June of last year. That was the one where my pH was so my magnesium was a bit low. Is this the one I'm looking for? Maybe not. But yeah, let me show you the results. I can't find the test that actually showed in that video. or which one it was, but take a look at these soil test results here. This is going to be an example of a yeah, this is a perfect one. This is a really good one. Okay, so take a look at this one, these soil test results. So when you do your my soil test, it will show you a chart like this. In this case, my pH is already in decent shape. Well, let's just imagine, work with me here, that your pH is low, right? In this case, for this soil, if you look at the levels of your magnesium, because my magnesium levels are, which is what Mg is, are also low, in this soil, if it needed pH, you'd go with a dolomitic lime. You would choose dolomitic to raise your pH and also raise your magnesium. If your magnesium levels were already okay, so say they were in the optimal zone, and again, we're just imagine this, the pH is low in the soil sample. I just found one. In that case, you would use calcitic lime. So low pH, low magnesium, go with dolomitic. Good magnesium, go with calcitic. The way you can remember it, or an easy way to remember this, is D is closer to M in the alphabet. So calcitic and dolomitic. D is closer to M in the alphabet, and magnesium starts with M. So if the magnesium is low, go with the one that's closer to me in the alphabet, which is the dolomitic. If the magnesium is fine, go with the one that's further away from me in the alphabet, which is C, calcitic lime. So again, it's not a night and day difference if you choose either one of them, but if you're just really trying to optimize things, get a soil test, and based on where your magnesium levels are, also use that as an additional decision maker as far as which type of lime to go with in your lawn. So hope that helps. I know it's kind of a long-winded answer, but I wanted to give you a good answer. And I really get questions about soil pH. So when I get one, I kind of like to go, above and beyond. And watch that video as well too, because the video does a much better job explaining it than I just did. All right, next up is Raider Nation. He says, hi Ron, love the information you always provide to us. I appreciate it, Raider Nation. It's tough to do, man. Believe it or not, coming up with these, coming up with the questions or coming up with the answers, and also policing to make sure no one crazy comes in and starts acting the fool is it's a job in of itself. All right, Archie Amos is up next. He says, what's the address of your upcoming event? Okay, first of all, it's not my event. It is Real Rollers' event. Real Rollers is just nice enough to let me come out there and hang out. So let me give you first the RSVP, Archie. So this is how you can RSVP for the event. And then as far as where to go, Real Rollers, they're off of Peachtree Industrial in Buford, Georgia. This is their address. So I'll put that in the chat for you guys here. Real Rollers address right there. So that's where you want to be next, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. So not tomorrow, but the Saturday following, which is October 1st. That is when the event's going to be. So come hang out if you're free. Should be a great time. Should be a great time. All right, next up is Smoking Legs. It says, what do you think of my last FERT application of 300? That's a lot of nitrogen, man. If you did that in say the beginning of this month, I wouldn't do it again in October. So if that's your last application of the season of nitrogen, then sure. It's a bit heavier than I would go, but I would not do that again in October. I would not follow up with that. You know what I mean? Unless you tell me again here, and I need to qualify that. If you're in Orlando, like you're in Florida somewhere where the grass is still gonna be growing for another 2 months, then sure, it's fine. If that's what your soil test results say you need from a nitrogen standpoint, by all means. But if you were my neighbor in Georgia, I would say, okay, the 30-00 was fine for your last app in August or September, but I would not throw that much nitrogen into the lawn for going into October as the lawn is beginning to go dormant. You know what I mean? It's just too much. I would not do that. Would not do that. All right. Alex Lee says, not Bermuda, but I'm still pretty awesome. That is true. You are pretty awesome. You are pretty awesome, Alex. I agree. All right. Next up is David Yip. He says, any reason to apply soil amendment like Essential G during the fall / non-growing season? Yes, there is. So what's an Essential G is a couple things. You've got biochar, which you can always apply that pretty much as long as the ground isn't frozen. It's a great additive to the soil that helps with nutrient availability. So as far as like whenever you apply fertilizer to your lawn, a lot of fertilizer that we apply, it works its way through the soil profile. I think the actual correct term is that it leaches through the soil. And what biochar does is it holds on to some of it and continues to make it available for longer than if you did not have biochar in your soil profile. So it's very good for that, and it takes a while to build that up in the soil. So for that reason alone, it's worth applying Essential G. In addition to that, you've also got the organic material in it. So it's got compost in it. It's got reclaimed coffee grounds in it. It's got humate in there, a bit of silicon to help improve the cell wall strength of the grass. And if you're interested in knowing what the benefits of coffee grounds, the guys over at Soil Lab, My Soil Lab, did a really cool video here recently on coffee grounds. They did some testing on it as far as it helping with availability, and the results were pretty interesting. So as far as initially when you apply a product that contains coffee grounds to your soil, initially the nitrogen takes a slight dip, but then the other nutrient levels in their testing showed an increase in availability. So they saw an increase in the other macros and also in your micronutrients. I'll see if I can find the video because it was really, really cool content. If you're interested in just knowing like, hey, why should I apply a product that has coffee grounds? Is there any benefit to doing it? The video that the Soil Lab just recently did on that was really good. The testing they did is cool because it's not stuff that I can easily do. So I'll find that and I will get you. Here we go. I'll get you guys the video for you guys to check out. It's really very well done, and I think you guys would enjoy it. Coffee grounds benefits video. So that's a good video that the guys at Soil Lab did. But to answer your question, yes, you're adding organic material in the form of the compost, the coffee grounds, and the biochar, which is something that just is going to benefit your lawn now and just going forward. So David, I've applied some form of carbon and micronized or biochar ever since July of 2020. So going past 2 years now. So from July 2020 till early last year, I was using Carbon Pro G. Then I switched to Essential G, and I've been using that ever since. So yes, as long as the ground is not frozen, you can apply it throughout the growing season. You can apply it when the grass is not actively growing. There's really no negative to doing that. The only time I would say not to do it is if the ground is frozen. Then you shouldn't apply it. But then that's true for any granular product. You wouldn't apply any kind of granular product to your lawn when the ground is frozen. All right, so Mike Harvey says, the yard was top July 27th, so the last pick was today. Okay, I have a McLean 25-inch reel mower. Last check, it cut paper really well on one side, but not on the other, but it's always been like that. Yeah, but that's we need to fix that though, Mike, because you really want it cutting paper all the way across. When you say, here's the thing now, you say you last check it cut paper really well. Like if you checked it, like when was the last time you checked it? If you checked it like this week, if you were to go out now and check it in the garage, I know you're probably not gonna do that because it's late, but if you were to check it now, is it still cutting paper for the most part all the way across except for on the one side? That will influence the quality of cut that you get, and it can lead to these kinds of problems. I'd be interesting to see if it's still cutting paper across the areas that it was doing it before, even now. That would be interesting to know because it really needs to be doing it across the entire bed knife. That's actually how I decide when it's time for my mower to go in for sharpening. Like if it stops cutting paper, I will first go in a couple of clicks on the bed bar to reel tolerance, and I'll check and see, does it still cut paper? No. I'll backlap it. If it's still not cutting paper, then it's time to go in and sharpen it. Or if it's only cutting paper in one area, what I find tends to happen, Mike, is the left side of the mower tends to cut paper longer than the right side. As far as when the sharpness goes away, the right side of the mower tends to fall away faster than the other side. That's what I found on my mowers. That was true for both the Owlet and when I check the Greens Master, it tends to be that way for that one as well too. So I'm not sure if that's what you're seeing with your mower, but if it's not cutting paper all the way across, I would send it in for sharpening because that can negatively impact how your turf looks. So it's just something to consider. All right, next up is Trilla. It says, hey, Ron, just dropping in to say hi to the Friday gang. Thanks for that, Trilla. Appreciate you. And then next up is Mike Harvey. Andrew was saying, how long did your top dress stay in the lawn before you spread? I had lots of piles, and I know some stay in the lawn a little long before I got to spread them. Okay. All right, next up is Robert Majoros. He is back. He has a question about fungicide, which is getting the time for that. That's something I'm going to be doing. Well, not next Saturday, so I'm going to be at Real Rollers, but probably that Sunday, I'm going to be doing my first fungicide app for the fall, doing some headway. So Robert's question is, Ron, fungicide time. What do you like, Clary 3336 or azoxystrobin propiconazole combination? Also, do you think we should put down a second application of acelepryn now to get us through the fall, winter on Xeon zoysia? On the acelepryn, I'll work your answer back to front. On the acelepryn, no, unless there's a reason, unless you have an active problem in your lawn, where you've got grubs in your lawn, you're seeing armyworms in your lawn, you've got some kind of insect problem that's causing damage, I would not apply acelepryn now. It's an expensive product, and really, I would, if you're going to do it as a preventative, I would do it in the springtime. Like I do mine in late March, early April. Some people do it a little bit later into like May timeframe, but I would wait till around that time of year to put it down as a preventative. If you have an active insect problem, then yes, applying it now is absolutely fine. Now, as far as the next, what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to go with an azoxystrobin propiconazole combination. I'm going to be using, I'll show you what I'm going to be using. You already know, or you probably already have an idea, Robert, but I will show you guys anyway. So if we go to the golf course lawn store, we go to shop, and then the fungicide section, I'm going to be using Headway. This is what I'm going to be applying, which is exactly what you were referring to. It's azoxystrobin and propiconazole. This is what I'm going to be applying on my lawn, not Saturday, so Sunday, so a week from now. And then a month later, so the end of October, early November, I'll do a follow-up application of Headway. And then that'll be it as far as fungicides until the springtime. Is that strictly necessary? No, but I do that to reduce the chance of having issues with spring dead spot. I did it last year, and it made a difference. It made an improvement for sure as far as the size of the areas that did suffer damage, and two of the areas pretty much there was none. So I had one area that still showed up, but it was a much smaller area than it had been in years past. That, and also limiting how much nitrogen you put in the lawn in the fall, also helps with preventing spring dead spot issues. So hope that helps, Robert. I've never used the Clary 3336 product, but azoxypropiconazole has served me well, so I'm just gonna stick with it. Or no, his Headway served me well, so I'm just gonna stick with that. All right, next up is Fairway Bermuda. Daryl is in the house. He says, "What up, Ron? I hope everything is good. I'm planning to come out to Real Rollers." Nice, that's sweet, man. That'd be cool to see you. Yeah, and there's gonna be mowers out there. Again, I'll be there from like 3-ish till the end of the event, and they're gonna have, they're gonna have a California trimmer. They're gonna have McLean's. They're gonna have True Cuts. Obviously, gotta have True Cuts. I'm going to have my Greensmaster there, and I'm also going to have the Allet there. So the Allet and the Greensmaster will be on display. Maybe you might be able to convince me to fire it up and let you guys make some passes with it. You just got to be really careful because it's super expensive. I don't want it damaged, so you guys got to be. I got to be there when you're running it. But yeah, they're all going to be out there for you guys to check out. You know what? I might actually also bring out another cartridge just so you can swap it, and you guys can see what it's like to swap cartridges in it. I mean, if you want. That's probably not going to be as fun because they're really heavy, but if you just want to see what some of the other cartridges that are available for the C27, I can do that as well too. But cool, man. I look forward to it, Daryl. It'll be cool to actually see you in person, man. Meet you in person. Really nice. All right, Greg Lyon says, as a future short video, you could do a tutorial on what each type of weed looks like and what you would use to get rid of them. Sure, I can do that for the ones that I have around here. I can do that, Greg. That is a good idea as far as ideas for a short. Let me take a screenshot of that. It's actually a great idea. I can do that, absolutely. That's a really good suggestion, and actually fits in a short profile fairly well. All right, Corey Grind says, thanks for the answer. We have Tiff Tuff Lawn waiting on the soil test now. Very cool, Corey. Tiff Tuff's a great Bermuda type. Good choice. All right, Govind Prakesh is here. Planning to put down another round of PGR at the end of this month. Thoughts? I'm in the Atlanta area. I am not Govind because the grass is how quickly it's growing has slowed down quite a bit. So I'm probably not gonna be doing an October app. I'm not mad at you if you want to. If you want to do a PGR app for October, here's what I would say. is do a half rate app. Don't go out and apply it at the full rate for Bermuda. Like go at half rate, and that half rate app is going to likely be enough to close you out for the rest of the season. So it's your call. I'm not going to do it on my lawn because grass isn't really growing that much now. It's just slowed down quite a bit. But if you decide you want to do one for October, just make sure it's just half rate. Don't go full rate. And I think you'll find you'll get a good result with that. You're saying I'm planning to come down to the event at Real Rollers next weekend with a couple of lawn nuts from the neighborhood. Hope to see you there. I'll be there, man. That's the plan. Assuming I don't get hit by an asteroid or something, barring unforeseen circumstances, my plan is to be there. So again, I'm going to be there from 2:30ish to 3 or so until the end of the event, because I got a karate event that I can't get out of. That's earlier that day, but I will be there. I'll be there. The mowers will be there, and it should be a fun time. Looking forward to meeting you guys. All right, NMS Auditor 1A says, Ron, I went down with the Spectacle Flow, Simazine, and 2,4-D a week ago. Also have a bag of head wedgie ready to go. What pre-emergent do you recommend for my spring application? Your call. It's your call. Dithiopyr is a good option. Prodiamine is a good option. If you have enough left on your Simazine allocation, you could use that. If you didn't go at full rate on Spectacle, you could do that. It's a ton of different options. You could do, again, dithiopyr, prodiamine, Spectacle, or Simazine. Those are all good options. If you're choosing between dithiopyr and prodiamine, I would lean more towards dithiopyr for the spring because it has more benefits against crabgrass. But really, any of those, if you're applied properly, will work well. The thing is, it's the spring pre-emergent is less, as long as you get it down. Like to me anyway, it matters less which pre-emergent you choose in the spring than which one you choose in the fall, because in the Southeast, POA is a colossal pain to have to control and keep out of your lawn and take care of, right? And the pre-emergent you choose in the fall can make a pretty big difference as far as how much POA you're fighting into the late fall, winter months, and even into the early spring. Whereas really, when it comes to springtime, if you get your prodiamine app down, your dithiopyr app down, or whatever you decide to go with, really what you're trying to prevent is crabgrass, and any of those will do a great job against it. And then a lot of your broadleafs, and again, any of those pre-emergents will do a really good job against your broadleafs and crabgrass. So it's really the fall that matters, I think, more as far as selection than springtime, in my opinion. All right, Isaac Mompurpurous is back. He says, I think the value of the Hudson Star is the folks that want to maintain at green heights and the things you said. I think the Hudson Star should try to make a believer of you and send me one or two. If they send me one, sure. I mean, send me one. I'll absolutely take. I'll try it out on the back lawn. I will try it out on the front lawn on a slope. I'll give you guys I'll give them a full review. They send me one. I'll give them a full review of it. How it does on a slope. How it does on I got flat areas. I've got sloped areas. I've got contoured areas like the swale area. So if Hudson Star cares about my opinion, they probably don't. But if they care about my opinion, you guys want to send me a mower, I will absolutely do a review on it and give you my thoughts on it. Here's the thing. I love all reel mowers. I do. I mean, I'm trying to think if there's a reel mower that I do not like. And I haven't really come across one yet. There's some that I like more than others, but I'm sure, here's the thing. For $2,000, I'm sure it cuts really well. It better for the money, right? All right, next is No Name. He says, hey, Ron, Antholons enthusiast. Sorry, I'm late for joining. Here's the thing, No Name. We were pretty irritated about that. Before you got here, if you scroll up, you probably can't see it. If you scroll all the way to the top, we've tried to remove it, but there was a lot of hateful comments saying, No Name is not showing up. He's not consistent. What's going on? He just shows up whenever he wants to. It wasn't good, but I'm going to try and shield you from some of that. I'm going to try my best. He says, quick question. When do you typically do your fall soil test? The plan is to do it the same time when I do my my fungicide app. So Sunday, it would be the time for that for me. He says, everyone tap the like button if you haven't. So good, No Name. Thanks for that. I'm just giving you a hard time, right? People weren't saying hateful things about you. But yeah, when I do my fall fungicide, so headway, and also that's a good time for me to also do my my soil. What you tend to find is any of my soil tests, I tend to do them at the end or beginning of the month, depending on your perspective, right before the time when I would do my next fertilizer application. So if you're going to do a soil test in the middle of, say, the growing season, you really want to give it 3 to 4 weeks between your last major input to make sure that you're not skewing your results. So the last time I did a major input to the lawn was at the beginning of September, and we're almost at the end of September. And so it's a good time to do my soil test, right? And that I find works very well. All right. Well, hopefully you're also able to make it out, No Name. I know you're in the Atlanta area, so hopefully I'll see you at the Real Rollers event as well. Hopefully. All right. Next up is Motor Therapy. It says, is dormant grass crispy? My ryegrass seeded late summer last year, but I got completely obliterated this summer. Seems like it's dormant since it doesn't come out as easily, but man, it is crisp when you step. Yeah, so if it dries out, it can get a bit crispy. So Bermuda, if we don't get any rain for weeks and weeks on end, it doesn't typically happen, but if we don't get rain for a while, but it's dormant, it does tend to get a bit crispy. So what you'll find is this, is when you step on it, it will leave a footprint and it will literally stay there. Like a good example or a good idea or how you can tell when it would be good to put a bit of water on your lawn, even though it's dormant, is if you go out and you walk on your lawn when it's dormant, it's going to leave footprints in it. And if like 2 or 3 days go by and the footprints are still there, like they're still clear as day, like the lawn hasn't really sprung back or recovered from it, running a single irrigation cycle is probably not a bad idea. But yeah, it happens. Mototherapy, and it doesn't really hurt anything. But yeah, and as far as rye getting crispy, yeah, I guess if it's super dry from the summertime, I could see that. But in most cases, that's a moisture, like I was saying, it's a moisture problem. And it can happen in the summertime. It can also happen in the wintertime too. Although in winter, it's a lot less common, and it really doesn't matter that much. I mean, if you want to put some water on it, you can, but what the way you can tell is you go out and you walk your lawn, and again, you're going to see, you'll put footprints in it, and if 2-3 days later, they still look exactly the same. It's probably a bit dry, and you wouldn't hurt to run an irrigation cycle. All right, Paul Mera is up next. He says, how do I get rid of clover? Depends on your grass type. There's a lot of different herbicides that will kill clover. If you have warm season grass, Celsius will do it. Even from an inexpensive product, if you can go with Spectricide, so something like this will also do it as well, Parul. But the way to answer the question is you want to make sure you know what kind of grass you have, because when it comes to herbicides, they are safe when applied properly at the correct rates and on the correct grass type. So say you were going to go with this one. This is safe for use on the following types of grass. So if you got cool season grass like Kentucky bluegrass, ryegrass, fescue, it's safe for that. If you have warm season grass like Bermuda, zoysia, buffalo grass, it's fine for that. But let's say you have a St. Augustine lawn, you would not want to use this on it because the quinclorac and the 2,4-D that are in it will damage St. Augustine. You know what I mean? So there's a couple different options. So this will work. Celsius can also work against clover, but this, as far as an inexpensive way to go, this is what I would recommend. And you can get this you can get this at like your big box stores or Walmart sells it. I mean, there's a lot of different places that sell this, so you can go pick up tomorrow if you wanted to. If you have warm season grass and you want a more professional grade product to get rid of clover, again, you could go with something like Celsius. It's a more expensive way to go, and frankly, it's probably a little bit overkill. But you'd go with something like this. Like this could work as well. So it really depends on which option will work for you. But the most important thing is before you go out and buy a herbicide and put it on your grass, make sure you know what kind of grass you have so that you're applying something that is safe for your grass type. Otherwise, you'll end up killing more than just the clover. You know what I mean? Hope that helps. All right, next up is Taylor Johnson. He says, what do you think of the fall nitrogen blitz for cool season lawn? I've never heard of the fall nitrogen blitz. Do tell, what is the fall nitrogen blitz? It sounds cool. It says, saw videos saying to do this instead of overseeding. I don't know what it is. So if I had to guess, is it instead of like, so overseeding in cool season lawns is a way for you guys to get the lawn to thicken up this time of year. I'm guessing the nitrogen blitz is you're making a heavy app of nitrogen to try and push growth, I guess. I don't know. I've never heard of that term before to be able to tell you if that's a way to go. I am not a huge fan of applying nitrogen at rates that are are vastly above what is correct for the grass type in question. But again, I don't know, I don't have enough information. I don't know exactly what the nitrogen blitz is. I'm not sure what kind of grass you have. I'm not sure what the nitrogen blitz entails and what you're hoping to accomplish with it, other than, I guess, not have to overseed your lawns. So I can't comment on that one for you, unfortunately, Taylor, but I will look it up. Sounds interesting. It sounds cool. The nitrogen blitz, something for me to look into. No Name is back. He says, what are your thoughts on killing larger patches of weeds this late in the season? I have heard that there will not be enough time for Bermuda to fill in, which could lead to bare spots in the winter. So you're talking about like big chunks of your lawn that's nothing but weeds. It's your call. I mean, it's your call whether you want to kill them now or kill them in the spring. But here's the thing I look at, No Name, is that if you kill the weeds now, then there's a chance that the Bermuda, you're getting rid of competition for the Bermuda, and while it may not fill in all the way, like I would still take that versus having a bunch of weeds there. Because here, if we just think about this, we just like logically think through this. If you fast forward to the springtime and wait till then to kill them, now you've got the time you're going to waste like killing the weeds, and then the Bermuda is still going to have to spread into it. So you're going to be, I think, as a net, you're going to be ahead of the game by taking care of the weeds now if you can. So take care of the weeds now, apply a pre-emergent to reduce how much weeds try and grow back in that area that's bare while you're waiting for the Bermuda to spread into it. And that is the way that I would go. I would not wait till springtime to kill off a big patch of weeds because it's going to be bare, because it's still going to be the same thing in the spring. You know, I mean, the only thing is that, yeah, it's going to fill in, but it's still going to fill in a bit now. Like we've still got another, what is it now? October. We still got another 4 to 6 weeks of growth before the lawn really checks out. Like it really takes that first cold snap for the lawn to really start slowing down. And we're not there yet. So if it were me, I would get rid of the weeds as much as I could now. And then, and just because that's going to put you further ahead of the curve versus if you waited until next year, in my opinion. Now, the only negative to that is that, yeah, you will have potentially a bare spot or an unsightly spot in your lawn longer, but you're going to have that next year too. You know, so it's really up to you. If it were me, if I would do it now, if it were me. All right, next up is JP. Oh man, I'm going to mess this up. JP, I'm going to try it. JP Zafransky. I think the S is sound. JP Zafransky. He says, been a few weeks, missed the live stream, just aerated and overseeded perennial ryegrass today. We're all waiting for you to try out at least 1 year. Just do your front yard. It'll eventually happen, but probably not this year. I think I'm probably too late now. Plus, I've already done pre-emergent. And I didn't just do pre-emergent, I did spectacle. I laid the smackdown as far as the pre-emergent goes. Like I probably wouldn't get a very good job on germination if I were to go out and try and seed the front lawn with perennial ryegrass. So I cannot, guys, even if I really wanted to now, it's probably not going to be okay. Maybe next year. Maybe next year, though. Maybe next year. Next year is another year with no mistakes, right? All right, next up is Greg Lyon. He says, I'm going to try and get there Saturday, but it's about 45 minutes away. My wife was less than thrilled about going with me, and couldn't believe why people would get together because of, air quotes, grass. I mean, I from her perspective, I get it, because there's a bunch of lawn nerds sitting around like talking about grass and lawn mowers and cutting heights and, fertilizer and, I get that. But I mean, don't look at it only as that. It's also like a barbecue. It's an outdoor barbecue. It is football. It's cornhole. It's a meet and greet. So if you look at it from that perspective and look at the grass as just like a value add, then it's not as bad. You know what I mean? So I get it though. Not everybody's into grass. I get it. Not, it's kind of hard for us to understand that, but I can understand it. I can understand it. I don't think she's going to be the only lady there. There's probably going to be other women there as well. So if it'd be fun. You don't have to stay super long either. It doesn't have to take your entire day. Just come for like half of it or something. Free food, football, cornhole, and get to play with a lot of cool mowers. There is that. I mean, obviously none of those things are things that she cares about, but I'm sure your happiness means something to her as well. All right. Fairway Bermuda Lawn says, Ron, sell me a great fungicide product. I do not want to see another brown patch in my lawn. The one I have now is moving too slow to go. So a good fungicide product. I can tell you what I use and like, and I've recommended to other viewers and they've had good results with, and that's Headway. Now, is it the only fungicide? No. But is it a good one? Yes. So if you ask me for a good fungicide product, then I would go with Headway. So go to the golf course lawn store, go to shop, and then go to fungicide and insecticide. And you're going to want to go with this. Headway is what I would use. It's oxystrobin and propiconazole. So you're getting two fungicides, two different modes of action in one product. And I've had excellent results with it. I have, and other viewers have had really good results with it. So if you're looking for something to use, what I'm going to be doing on my lawn, Daryl, it's going to be Headway. That's going to be applying next weekend, and then again in November. That is going to give you the, that's going to help a lot as far as reducing your chances for spring dead spot. Can I get it, man? Fungus damage is not fun to have in your lawn, and it takes a while to get rid of. And what most people don't realize is that fungicide does not reverse the damage right away. Like, you know what it does? It stops it from getting worse and allows the grass to heal. But it's not like it's not like you apply a fungicide and in the area that was damaged, now it's going to turn like lush and green, just bounce back right away. Typically if you have damage, what I've done when I had some large patch, what I did is I did my fungicide application, and then it happened to coincide with my next fertilizer app. So I was able to do a light application of fertilizer, and those two together, the fungicide to arrest the spread of the disease, and then the nitrogen to help give the lawn a little boost to kick back into to fill in, like that works well together. But I mean, fungicide in itself does not instantly reverse the damage of lawn disease. It stops it and then allows the grass to heal, but that takes time. So the best thing is to not have the problem in the first place, right? Which you know all too well. All right, next up is Greg Lyon. He says, after cutting the trees back where I have the bare areas, I'm seeing lots of rocks and it is still quite uneven. Must be from sand runoff. Do you think putting sand in those areas will work, or will it not match and look much different from the rest of the grass that is nearby? Thanks. Hard to say, Greg. Hard to say. So I will tell you, I have not had good success with installing or using sod after the fact, even for the same grass type. So even though my lawn was mainly Tifway 419, when I've had Tifway sod put in to replace like trees that were removed, it didn't really match. And it's not just me. Like a neighbor that's like a pitching wedge away from me in the back lawn, when his house was built, the builders will only put sod in, I don't know, like 20 feet, 30 feet away from the back of the house. So then he paid for that. And then after the fact, he paid to have to have sod put in to finish filling in the lawn. His house was built in like 2008, something like that. So it's coming up on 20 years, right? 15, 20 years, and you can still see the difference between them. And supposedly the sod that was installed was also Tifway 419. So I say all that to say that if you are cutting the trees back, and you're trying to now get grass to grow there, I would take the approach of patience. And if you want to see grass is going to grow, take plugs from areas of your lawn that's doing well and transport those plugs to the areas that's now getting more sunlight, and just give it time and see if that's going to fill in. That is I can guarantee then that what grows in there is going to match your existing grass. But if you go get sod, it's rolling the dice. It really is rolling the dice that it's going to match the existing lawn, and then you'll hate it. Depending on how picky you are, it might not bother you, but if you're really picky, you're not going to like the way it looks. So cutting the trees back is a great plan, but then I'd say if you're really, really a stickler about making sure that the new area that is now getting more sunlight matches, take the approach of plugging the area instead of putting sod in, because that's going to give you the best chance of it actually matching. All right, Taylor Johnson is saying 0.5 pound per 1,000 square feet every 2 weeks till the grass stops growing. That's his thought on the N inputs, nitrogen inputs. So 0.5 pound. So yeah, so he's backing down the rate. Sounds good. And then let's see here. Dominic D says, is dog urine as effective at killing weeds, Dallas grass, crabgrass, quack, doveweed, as it is centipede grass? No, not really. I mean, it'll probably make it really angry for a while, but then it'll come back. I mean, you picked a really nasty set there, especially like the Dallas grass and doveweed. Like those two are pretty nasty to have to get rid of. All right, Greg Lyon says, do you sit in the same chair for your day job? I do. Same chair. Yep. And then next is Rusty's Creations. He says, "Hey Ron, just here for late thumbs up. Appreciate you. Golf Course Lawn Store has been awesome with shipping, soil test, pest control, uncertainty for my sedge garden on the side of the house on the way. Awesome. I really appreciate that, Rusty. We do try our best to get things out. We don't always get it right. Sometimes there's delays in shipping, and with everything trying to grow, sometimes there's delays here and there. But for the most part, we try to get stuff shipped as quickly as possible because I know how I am. Like when I order something, like I'm already checking the mailbox. I'm looking for tracking info as soon as I place my order. So I try and replicate that experience as much as possible for you guys, so that I just think about what I would want for my lawn care products and try to do that, right? All right, next up is Shazia Chaudhry from the UK. It's late, man. He says, joining late here. It's 2:38 a.m. here in the UK. Wow. Oh, he said, wow. He says, not well with a chest pain. I'm sorry to hear that, sir. So I thought I'd wake up and get some lawn advice. Hope you're all well, and I'll watch the last half an hour and on catch up. Sure. Yeah, man. Yeah, sorry to hear that you're not feeling well. And if chest pain can be a lot of different things. So get that checked out if it's not going away. Don't just just don't let that ride. Get that checked out. Like that. There's a reason for that. So get it looked at, man. Next is Greg. He's back. He says, do you have a video on plugging? I don't. I have a video on a lot of different topics. I don't have one on plugging. I don't. And I actually have a portion of the lawn that I could do that, because I've got a little bit of common Bermuda in one area that I could kill off and then plug it. That'd be something cool to do for next year. Probably not this time. I don't know. I might be able to do it this year too. I don't know. I have to get a pro plugger and see. I don't actually own one. I do not have a video on that, Greg. It's a good idea. Screenshot. All right, next up is Rich V. He says, have you heard any rumors of Syngenta coming out with a smaller liquid version like this or this of Headway like they have for Acelepryn? Have a great weekend. I have not. I did ask this year, hey, is there any chance of getting a liquid version of Headway? And they said not at this time. I can ask again because I think it would sell really well. I would be a huge fan of getting, getting some Headway in a small 4-ounce would be money. I think it'd be really, really good and be a great fit for the DIY community for homeowners. I'll bring it up again. I'll ask the folks at Syngenta again if they'd consider doing it. Like anything else, for us, it seems like it would be really easy, but there's a whole bunch of legalese and stuff they have to go through as far as, I'm sure, taking a product that comes in, I'm not sure what it comes in. Is it a gallon? Maybe a gallon, 2.5 gallon jug, and then putting that in a smaller one, because then they got to print labels and do all this kind of stuff. I mean, it's for a company that size, it's not as easy as you might think. But I'll bring it up again with them, Rich V. I'll reach out to them and see what they say, because I believe there's a market for it. All right, Edwin O says, evening all. Hey R, planning on sodding my front yard with 2,500 square feet with Tahoma. Nice. Just debating on if I should wait till spring instead of the fall. I probably wouldn't be able to do it until late October. Thoughts? It's probably would be fine. Where are you in the country, Edwin? I don't know where you are in the country. I will tell you that in here in Northeast Georgia, they sod lawns. They sod Bermuda year round. Like literally, they put sod in all times a year. Now, as far as a time would be better to do it, early spring would be good. Like that would be better than doing it like right now. But is it? Am I saying that you would get a negative result, or the grass it wouldn't grow in? It's probably going to be just fine. So whenever your budget can will afford you to get it, and the timing works, I would go ahead and do it. In other words, if I decided I were going to do a Tahoma renovation, right, and like I know the stars aligned to where now was the time of year where I was going to do it, I wouldn't have any negative feelings about doing it now versus waiting until the spring, because it's going to just give it more time to root in. And then next year, that puts me ahead of the game whenever I decide to top dress it, right? Because it's the one thing you have to realize whenever you go out and you sod a lawn, regardless of how good a job they do with prepping it and everything, it's still not going to be super, super smooth to where a top dress is going to be in order. But yeah, it's really your call. If you want to wait till spring, early spring, you can. But I wouldn't. I think you're still going to be just fine either way. It's Bermuda. It will root in. It will start to grow. Shouldn't be a problem at all. All right. And you said, Edwin says, I'm in North Texas. Yeah, it's your call, man. I mean, around here they do it year round, but North Texas is probably a bit cool. Gets a bit colder than it does in North Georgia. You guys probably get snow, and it probably gets colder. So just wait. You know what? Given that you're further north than I am, wait till early spring, and that's a recipe that guarantees that you're going to get a good result, because you're going to be putting it down right into the beginning of the season when it's warming up. You got the entire of next year for it to root in and get established. You'd be just fine. Again, Bermuda, I'm fairly certain, would be just fine even now if you were to put it in. But if you want to be super safe, you can wait till until next year. I appreciate that, Shazia. I do my best, man. I'm glad you guys stick around and hang out to talk about lawn care stuff, which is always fun. It's always fun. And let's see what else. We've got Trevor Johnson is up next. He says, "Hey, Ron, happy Friday. Bit of a late, but I'm glad to see the show is still on. Question, with winter watering, any recommendations on how often or how much water should be applied during the off season?" You really don't. If you're my neighbor in Georgia around here, I'd say rarely. You really need to water, if at all, because we typically get enough rain. An easy way to test for that, Trevor, is what I would said, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes or so, is if you start walking your lawn whenever it's completely dormant, and what you find is the lawn dries out, it's gonna become crispy, become crunchy, and if you walk in it and you put footprints all through it, it's not really gonna recover from that. If you go and you walk in the lawn and the footprints are still there 2 or 3 days later, I'd consider running irrigation. Run like one irrigation cycle just to get some moisture in it, if you want. Is it even that strictly necessary? No. I mean, like you could literally not water your Bermuda lawn the entire winter, and it's going to be just fine in the springtime. But if you want to be nice and you want to give it a little bit of water, you can. I typically do not water my lawn very often if at all, in the winter time. The one thing that will cause me to water it is if I do like a lime application. Then I do run irrigation. But outside of that, it's nowhere near like what it's like during the summer months when I'm running irrigation 2 to 3 times per week. So it's not strictly necessary. It's your call whether you want to do it or not. I can assure you the Bermuda will be just fine if you don't run irrigation on it. Next up is Ahmad Jones. He says, "Can I continue to put down turf builder down now? My lawn is great." It depends on what you're talking about. I am not a fan, Ahmad, of a couple of things. You have Bermuda in Memphis, Tennessee. Yeah, it's okay. So as we're entering the time of year, Ahmad, when the lawn is going to begin slowing down how quickly it grows, I would not be putting high nitrogen fertilizer into the lawn this time of year. So the Scott's Turf Builder products is an entire suite. So I'm not sure which one you're referring to, but if they have one that has a lower percentage of nitrogen and is higher on the potassium, so like when you know the NPK numbers, if the last number is a little bit higher and the first number is lower, to where like when I say lower, like under 10%, that should be fine. But I would not get out there and put down like I don't know, a 34, whatever. I have no idea how Scott does their turf builder NPK numbers, but I would not put down a high nitrogen fertilizer this time of year on a Bermuda lawn. I wouldn't do that. So that is the only thing I would say. If you still want to continue feeding the lawn, you can, but potassium is more important, this time of year, as the lawn is beginning to taper off and start to go dormant, than trying to push a bunch of growth with nitrogen. That is my thoughts. Those are my thoughts on the matter. Well, cool, guys. And he said, "I want to keep it looking green." Yeah, I mean, you can, but it's not. You have Bermuda. So it's Bermuda goes dormant as soon as it starts getting cold. I mean, you live in Memphis, which is it's gonna start getting cool here in another 6 weeks. So I would say the lawn should stay relatively green for another 4 weeks, and then it's going to begin falling off. And that's what it's supposed to do, because Bermuda's a warm season grass. Like it's supposed to be really, really green and nice looking between April till October-ish. Like that's depending on which part of the country you're in. That's when Bermuda should look green. Outside of that, it should go dormant. If you want the lawn to be green year round, then what you can do is you can overseed your Bermuda with a cool season grass like rye or KBG or something, like really rye. It's a better choice. And that's going to give you a green lawn throughout the fall into winter months. But the way to keep your lawn green during the winter is not to push a bunch of nitrogen in your Bermuda grass lawn. It's not gonna work, for one, and then second, it's potentially gonna create problems in the spring with lawn disease. So you don't want to do that. All right, next up is JB. He says, do you ever have people park their car while you're mowing the front yard and then approach you about your lawn? Yes, I have had that happen. I don't mind helping people, but I don't know these people. How would you handle it? They're just being friendly. I mean, most people, here's the thing about it. You just look at it from their perspective. For a person that doesn't know you, to park their car and stop and say, hey, nice lawn. What do you do to get your lawn so green? They're probably fine. I mean, it's unlikely they're going to be someone that has any kind of ill intent. And I just answer the question, because great looking lawns help everyone. And if someone wants to take the time to ask a question about how to improve their lawn, I'm good to help them out. I have not come across a situation where someone was like rude or weird or anything. Actually, that's not true. I had one person. I had one couple like ask me some questions about mowing the lawn. I'm not going to relate because it's actually pretty rude. It's not worth repeating. So, but in general, 99.999% of the time, people are really cool about it, and I just answer their questions because I figure if they're going to stop and ask for help, I will help them out as much as I can. Kind of like what I'm doing right now on the live stream, right? Cal is next. He says, hey, Ron, how low can I leave my Bermuda into dormancy? I have been trying to keep a putting green, but I'm not sure how long to leave it. Okay, so I'm not sure what part of the country you're in. I don't know how severe the winters get where you are in the country, Cal, but if you were my neighbor in Northeast Georgia, I could tell you that 3/4 of an inch is going to be just fine. So which is way taller than putting green heights. Last year, I left it at 1/2 inch going into dormancy, and the lawn tolerated it just fine. I didn't have any problem with any of it dying or anything like that. And it got snowed on. It got covered in snow for part of the year. So during not part of the year, well, for a couple of days, whenever we had snow here in Georgia. Yeah, this is what it actually looked like. If you want to see what 1/2 inch Bermuda with snow on it looks like, that's what it looked like. I think this was January. But you can see what my lawn looked like with a couple of inches of snow in January, and it bounced back just fine. It tolerated that just fine. And that was at 1/2 inch. So if you want to be super safe, take it up to 3/4 of an inch, and it should be okay. The more severe your winters are, then that's when you might want to err on letting the grass get a bit taller. But 3/4 of an inch for most people should just fine. And then Kevin Dow says it's nice when people think your grass is fake. It is. I think that's one of the best compliments you can get, right? Is that people think that you got AstroTurf, or they ask, or one of the best things is, what kind of grass do you have? And you say, it's the same grass that's in your lawn. Same stuff that's in here, same stuff that's there. It's just the care and approach of taking care of it. That's what makes it look that much different. Very cool. Well, guys, I think that's all we have as far as questions tonight. It was a really, really good show. Be sure to check out the Real Rollers Turf Park, the turf party that's going to be happening next Saturday, October 1st, at the Real Rollers Turf Park in Buford, Georgia. RSVP. Here is a link for you guys to do that if you so desire. It's going to be a fun time. Football, cornhole, real mowers, real mowing. There's going to be some other YouTubers there. I'm going to be there. So, you can come hang out and shake hands, and everyone you can put a face with a name and this kind of thing. So it'd be a great time. If you have not gotten your fall pre-emergent down as yet, please, for the love of everything that involves having a weed-free lawn, get your pre-emergent down. We carry some at the golf course lawn store, but there's other places locally. If you don't want to order from me, you can get it from somewhere else, but please apply pre-emergent to your lawn, because it really makes a big difference as far as keeping your lawn weed-free. So get that done. We are well within the time frame, the window for doing that. So get that done. And again, anything else you guys need as far as your fertilizer requirements, your soil micronutrient requirements, your biostimulants, we carry all that at the golf course lawn store. Essential G, you can still apply this time of year. If you're my neighbor in Northeast Georgia, you can apply it, well into the winter and all through the spring. So there's still lots of things you can be doing to your lawn as we get ready to close out the season. Thank you guys so much for coming to hang out. I really do appreciate it. I will see you guys next Friday, and hopefully also at the Real Rollers Turf Party next Saturday. Until then.